All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this afternoon's live commentary coverage of the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the fifth round of the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. And here on KRC, we're going to have full flag-to-flag coverage for you here this afternoon. A little West Coast swing, so later start time here today. They're going to be back on the East Coast next weekend, where we'll get to some slightly earlier start times like we had for the first couple of races this season. And looking forward to see what happens today on the first mile-and-a-half racetrack of the season. The mile-and-a-half tracks across the NASCAR Cup Series in the next-gen era have been some of the best racing we have seen at mile-and-a-half tracks in all of NASCAR, and I think we're going to have a great show for you here today and a great race up ahead. It'll be an interesting one. The Toyotas dominated yesterday in practice and qualifying, so they are going to be very tough to beat. Chevys seem to be kind of that second-tier team, especially with the Hendrick Motorsports stable, though still trying to get used to the new body and the new front bumper with this Chevrolet for 2026. They have not broken through to victory lane yet. Ryan Blaney was able to win last week. We'll see if he can go back-to-back this week. He really looks like the only threat for Ford as a whole this weekend, and even then lacking some speed compared to, obviously, that of the Toyotas for both JGR and 2311 Racing, as well as, of course, again, Hendrick Motorsports. So odds are going to be stacked against Penske and Team Ford here today. Thanks for everybody tuning in here this afternoon. We're going to get into some NASCAR trivia, as we always do for these live commentary streams. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more NASCAR content, because after we get through trivia, we're going to go through my predictions of who I think will run well, not run well in today's race. We'll obviously go over the starting lineup, the point standings, and then the race will begin, and we'll have full flag-to-flag coverage for you right here on the channel. We do live commentary streams like this every NASCAR race weekend for Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck Series racing, as well as Cup practice and qualifying. Trucks were off this week, so this is our third and final stream of the weekend, our main event, if you will. Thanks for everybody tuning in on this early Sunday afternoon. We're going to go into NASCARSporkle.com, and we will be doing a Las Vegas quiz. And so, NASCAR Las Vegas, see what we've got. Whoa. So we got top 10 finishers, lap sled. We did a lap sled quiz last week for Phoenix. I might just do the same thing again this week. The only reason I'm going to do the laps led for Vegas this week, just like we did for Phoenix last week, even though it's a similar quiz, is because Las Vegas's first Cup race was in 1998. I was born the following year, so most of it is in my lifetime. Therefore, I think we have a better chance of getting a perfect score. Now, we only have 15 minutes on the clock this week. Last week we had 20, so that will make it a little bit more challenging, having 5 less minutes. But 68 drivers have led a lap at Las Vegas in the NASCAR Cup Series. Let me see when this quiz was last updated. It looks like March of 2017. So 2018 and beyond, we're probably not going to have those drivers pop up on the list. Obviously, there's a chance that there might be a couple, and that date at the bottom of the screen isn't exactly correct. But we'll do the best we can. Bam Hall, thanks for tuning in. Frank Powers, Marcus Villarreal, Robert Goodrich, thanks for watching, everybody. Let's get this quiz underway, and let's get the stream underway. We're going to start off with some former winners. Joey Logano, I know, is going to be on here. Brad Keselowski. Kevin Harvick is a former winner here. And Jeff Gordon. Mark Martin won the first race here. Jimmy Johnson. Kurt and Kyle Busch are former winners. Labonte, Bobby Labonte, I know, has won here before. Then Terry Labonte is going to be on the list as well. Earnhardt never won here, so we'll skip him for now. Tony Stewart. And then let's go Matt Kenseth, Truex, Martin Truex Jr., Carl Edwards, Greg Biffle, Denny Hamlin, another former winner. I'll put Elliott on here. Bill Elliott's on here. Chase Elliott is not. Sterling Marlin, Jamie McMurray. Now I'm just jumping all over the place. Paul Menard, there we go. He's on here. Jeff Burton. We're going to get a Ward Burton on there as well. Clint Boyer. Ryan Newman. Eric Almirola is not on the list. Jones Suarez. Chastain, no. Let's go Blaney. Dave and Ryan Blaney are on the list. Jimmy Q, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Kyle Larson. Going back to the former. Oh, Larson's not on here. Obviously, again, last updated in 2017, but I'm surprised he didn't lead any laps his first few seasons here. But Juan Pablo Montoya, he's on here. Marcus Ambrose is on the list. John Andretti, he's on here. Joe Nemechek, I'm sure, is on the list. Mike Bliss is not. Scott Riggs, he is. Casey Kane, Casey Mears. Mears is not. Let's try Sorensen. He's not on the list. Mike Skinner. Okay, he's on here. I'll put Earnhardt. Dale Jr., Dale Sr. are both on the list. Mike G, welcome to the stream. I do have Labonte already. Rusty and Mike Wallace are on the list. Jeremy Mayfield, I'm sure, is on here. Jimmy Spencer. Kenny Schrader is not. Okay, let's try Morgan Shepherd. Morgan Shepherd's on the list. Brian Vickers. Travis Quapple. Brendan Gaughan. Gaughan is not. So like Josh Berry's a former winner here, but he's not going to be on the list. Bowman is not. Byron, no. Ernie Irvin definitely is on the list. No, he's not going to be on here. Harry Gant? No. What about Rick Mast? Mast is on here. Ted Musgrave. Musgrave is not. Chad Little is not. Really thought Waltrip. Got Daryl and Michael Waltrip. Steve Park. He's not on here either. Yikes. Okay. Scott Speed. Sam Hornish. Hornish is not on the list. Jason Leffler. Nope. Remo, thanks for tuning in. Anybody who has led a lap at Las Vegas in NASCAR Cup Series history, that's our quiz for today. Remo Goodrich, thank you for the $5 super chat, by the way. Happy race day to you as well. Alan Kulwicki would not have made the first race here. First race at Las Vegas was 1998. Robert Presley? No. Regan Smith is on the list. Bobby Hamilton. Man, Hamilton's not on here either. Ricky Rudd. Elliott Sadler. Dale Jarrett. David Gilliland. Oh. I do have Ambrose. Jeff Bodine? Yep, Jeff and Todd Bodine. I was looking in my stats. Todd Bodine actually qualified on the pole here back in 2002. No Trickle. What about Derek Cope? Oh. I've got Elliott. Chase wasn't on here. Bill was. Allmendinger. There we go. McDowell. Rudiman. Now we're cooking. Dave Marcus? No. Johnny Benson. There we go. Jerry Nadeau? Nadu's on here. We got 59 of 68, guys. Lake Speed's not on here, but Scott Speed was. David Reagan. Trevor Bain? No. Let's try Stenhouse. Stenhouse is on here. Okay, there we go. There we go. Let's try Busher. He's not on the list. No Moffitt. Stephen Light. Not on here. Oh, yeah, Danica Patrick. Oh, she's not on here. Bradbury, I'd be shocked. No. And Robert Goodrich, thank you for another $5 super chat. Get well soon. Support the hosting chair. Yes. Yes, indeed. Christopher McComas, thanks for tuning in also. Austin Dillon, he is probably on here. Austin and Ty Dillon are on here. David Stremme, JJ Yaley. Yaley's on here. We got 4 left. We've got a chance. Yeah, not the usual chair or setup this weekend. For those of you tuning in, wondering what is going on behind me. Remote location for this weekend's stream. Eric Jones. I think I tried him already, but he wasn't on here. Yeah, he was a rookie in 2017. I don't know if there's any active drivers that I haven't named yet. I do have Skinner. I've got the Bush brothers. Yeah, 4 names left. 3 of those 4 names have led only 1 lap here. Hornaday. That was a good guess. Try Jack Sprague. No, he's not on here. I did try Casey Mears. He's not on the list. No Carpanier. Green. Jeff Green. Tony Raines. Oh. Hut Strickland. There we go. I do have Nemechek. Bubba's not on here, but I do have Mike and Rusty Wallace. It's down to backmarker, guys. Yeah, pretty much. 10 laps led might not be. That could be a mid-pack driver. I wouldn't rule that out. We have 5.5 minutes to get 2 more names. So we have 1 lap led and 10 laps led at Las Vegas all time. Rich Bickle. Oh, that would be a poll right there. Nope, it is not. It was a good guess, though. Let's go. I already tried him. Sauter? Dang it. Benedetto. Nope. No Matty D. Briscoe's not going to be on here. No Miller. I tried Kenny Schrader already. Ricky Craven. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I haven't named him yet. All right, we got 1 left. We've got 1 name left. 10 laps led at Las Vegas all time. It's going to be tough. I do have Quapple. Tried Gone. Probably not Alfredo. No. This is hard now. Yes, it is. Sad part, I mean, it's probably going to be somebody from my lifetime because the first race here was 1998. Who have I not named yet? Yeah, 1 name left. I do have Skinner. I haven't seen anybody in the chat name anybody I haven't already named yet, but keep going. We can get a perfect score this week. This could be our second perfect score of the season. We only had 4 of them all of last year, so if we get 2 in the first 5 weeks, that's great. Could be any year. I know that's the problem. It could be anywhere from 1998 to 2017. I do have Biffle. Who have I not named? I've got Newman. It is not Ryan Preece. It was worth a try. Because I think his rookie year was. No, maybe it was an 18. I was thinking maybe it was 17. Landon Castle? Nope. Parker Kligerman. That's not how you spell it. Klig. I think it's 2 G's. It's not Kligerman. Scott Pruitt? Nope. I did try Chad Little already. I've got Jeff Green. I just put him a couple minutes ago. Oh, Kyle Petty. Yes! Thank you, Kyle Petty. See, like most of his career, I just imagine like, oh, it was like through the early to mid 90s, he did any of his laps led. No, he could have led 10 laps at Vegas after that, and he did. Way to go. Red River Tactical Outdoors. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for coming in clutch there. Kyle Petty was the last driver we were missing. With 2 minutes and 21 seconds to spare out of 15 minutes, we get 100% on our quiz this week, 68 of 68. Average score was 80%, and we named everybody who's ever led a lap at Las Vegas in the NASCAR Cup Series. Round of applause, everybody. Round of applause. It's our second perfect score in the first 5 weeks of the season. We are cooking this year. We are cooking. All right, so before we get into the starting lineup for today's race, let me check my phone real quick just to see how much more time we have. Drop of the green flag is scheduled for 4:10 Eastern, so we still have about 20 minutes yet until the drop of the green flag. A couple extra minutes to buy with us getting 100% on the score a little early there, but I don't want you to miss the national anthem, so if that starts playing, we have extra time to listen into that. If you're wondering visually where you can watch today's race, Fox Sports 1 is carrying today's race. So Fox Sports 1 is where you can watch. Because I'm not my usual setup, if you see me bouncing back and forth between the main screen and then obviously the raw feed throughout the course of the race, that's so I can look at the chat and I don't miss anything there. So I appreciate all you tuning in. Frederico Sanchez, thanks for tuning in. Let me try to give some shout outs if I haven't given some yet. Terry Everett, thanks for watching as well. Steve J, welcome back into the stream. Sue Brown as well. Some of you obviously were playing along. Kyle Riker, welcome to the stream. Good afternoon. Sporadically shoveling. Yeah, it's crazy. The temperature here, it's like 60 degrees outside. It's really nice in Northwest Ohio for a change this time of the year. It's kind of been like it'll be 60 degrees one day and then not the next. Like it's supposed to be 26 for a high here in 2 days from now, and it's 60 degrees outside today. So that's the kind of weather I have to deal with on a year-to-year basis in March in Ohio. All right. Remote location again for this week. Phone lag 2 minutes behind now. I don't think we're too far away from the national anthem, but when they start playing it, I'll let you listen in. Let's highlight the Fantasy League first, then, while we have minimal time before that happens. You can join the NASCAR Fantasy League on the NASCAR.com website or the NASCAR mobile app. A chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race if you're choosing the following season if you win our regular season and or playoff championship. Be sure to join if you haven't yet, because the chance obviously to win the Chase Championship all you have to do is be in the league when it starts. So even though you can't win the regular season championship if you're not already in the league, because we're 4 weeks in, about to be five, at least you can get the gist of how the league works. So when the chase starts back around, you're back at zero. We have two completely different champions for the season. And that's so that way new viewers of the channel throughout the course of the year still have a chance to win that grand prize when we get into the end of the season stretch in the fall. So my team for this weekend, and the guys who I think are going to run well, and there obviously could be some extra drivers who I think could have a good day today, but I'm going to leave off whether it's because I've used them X amount of times this year or not, because you can only use a driver 10 times this season. Of the drivers I have listed today, I've only used Christopher Bell more than one time. Some I have not used any yet. I have not used William Byron yet. I've not used Bubba Wallace yet. And I'm kind of shocked I haven't gone on the Bubba Wallace train. He is third in points, so obviously he's scoring a lot right now. So to not have him on my fantasy league could be hurting me a little bit. But he's in my garage to start the race today. My starting five will be Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Christopher Bell, and Tyler Reddick. I've only used Reddick once, and I believe that was at Coda. Going to use him again here today. Toyotas just look really strong based off practice and qualifying yesterday. From what I saw, I'd say JGR and 2311 are right there. I would put JGR ahead of 2311 so far this weekend. Reddick and Wallace were quick yesterday in practice and qualifying. They're both starting up in the top 10. I'd say Wallace was actually a bit quicker than Reddick, both in practice and qualifying. Wallace starts fourth, Reddick starts seventh. We've both seen them compete here at Vegas, have good runs. Neither of them have won. Christopher Bell hasn't won here yet, but he does have 4 poles. He tends to score a lot of stage points. Momentum is riding high for himself as he led the most laps last week, and we'll see if he can get the win this week. Toyota as a whole has just been strong everywhere we went this year, but this weekend they look to have a stranglehold. HMS seems to be that second-tier team. Larson was at the head of it. William Byron was the second best in HMS practice and qualifying yesterday. I don't have as strong of a stranglehold on William Byron this season. He hasn't looked like he did last year, where Kyle Larson has shown spurts of being Kyle Larson, and he's really carrying the banner right now for Chevrolet and Hendrick Motorsports with this new body. I do think Larson's got a shot to go to victory lane here today because he's been that damn good when it comes to the next-gen car on mile-and-a-half tracks. He has 6 mile-and-a-half track wins. Next closest driver has 3. He's led over 1,700 laps across the mile-and-a-half tracks in the 4 years we've ran the next-gen car. This is the first mile-and-a-half track this season. He did win the O'Reilly Series race yesterday. Those extra laps do matter, even though the car between the O'Reilly and Cup Series is vastly different. I do think Larson is of my top 3 to win today's race. Ultimately, I'm going to take Christopher Bell just based off the momentum from a week ago leading into this week, and he was very good in practice and qualifying. He was actually the fastest in both practice and qualifying, so look out for him. Denny Hamlin won this race in the fall last year, so could be going for win number 61 here today. If a Toyota does not win, I think it's going to be Larson. If Larson or a Toyota does not win today, I'm going to be a little bit shocked because Penske did not look good in practice or qualifying yesterday. Even though Blaney qualified 6th, that long run speed did not look anywhere near what we usually see out of Blaney on a track with high tire wear. So maybe they missed the setup right out of the gate and they dialed things back into the way they usually do, and that's why he qualified well. We'll have to wait and see on Blaney, but I'm a little skeptical for him right now. National Anthem and pre-race festivities are starting up on FS1.
With us, in Christ's name we pray. Amen. Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome multi-platinum rock band celebrating 50 years, Turner. Oh, sing, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's gleam, through broad stripes and bright stars, through the perilous fight, all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets oh,
All right. Next time we turn to trackside, they're going to be starting the engines when they come back from the next commercial break. We'll take a look at the point standings through the first 4 races of the season. Remember, the top 16 make the chase, but it's unlike years past where we've seen the playoff format every year since 2014 through 2025, because here in 2026, the chase is back. And it'll be the top 16 in points who will make the chase, and it'll be on points alone in which they make it. Obviously, there's a huge emphasis on winning still because there are so many points that are awarded to a race winner, and that's why you see the 2 guys who have won a race this season at the top 2 in points. Tyler Reddick is sitting first because he won the first 3 races of the season. Still pretty good cushion over second place Ryan Blaney, who got his first win of the season at Phoenix last week. The points deficit for Blaney, I believe he picked up 30 points in one race from 90 back to 60 back, so a 30-point gain, even with Reddick scoring a lot of stage points and getting a top 10 finish, goes to show how much winning really does matter still under this point system. But 60 points back, we'll see how that's going to fare for him here today. The most points he could score in a single race is 75 if you win both stages and win the race. As far as Reddick goes, he is only within race worth of points of Bubba Wallace and Blaney so far. He had a 70-point lead over his teammate Bubba Wallace after the 4th race of the season or 3rd race of the season, at Coda, and then Blaney jumped in there to 2nd with the win. So we'll see if anybody else in the top 10 in points or so get a win. Christopher Bell's my pick. He is 6th in points here today. That could vault him up to potentially 2nd place in the point standings if he does score a lot of stage points with that as well. Tyler Reddick is the points leader by 60, then 72 over Bubba Wallace. If you win the regular season championship, you start off at 2,100 points. All the way down to 16th gets 2,000 points. So that's a 100-point swing between 1st and 16th. And just between 1st and 2nd, you're already going to have a 25-point cushion. Outside of the top 3 in points, you got Chase Elliott, who's sitting 4th. SVG still in the top 5 in points. Great start to the season there for him. He's finished 11th or better in 3 races so far this year. Christopher Bell, although he's 6th in points, remember, he gained 18 spots in the standings last week. And that was without a win. That was because he finished 1st and 2nd in the first 2 stages, 2nd in the race, had a solid points day. Consistency matters. And with it being so early in the season, there were so many drivers that he could have jumped in points with a good performance. And you could see that again here today from somebody as well, as it's only the 5th race of the year. Joey Logano sitting 7th in points. Michael McDowell still hanging on strong for Spire at 8th. He's coming off a top 10 a week ago. Chris Buescher 9th, and Kyle Larson rounds out the top 10 in points. He too also gained 5 positions in the standings. William Byron then 11. Denny Hamlin gained 11 spots in points last week after an abysmal first 3 races. Gets his first top 5 of the season at Phoenix and scores a lot of stage points, so he's now 12th. AJ Allmendinger is 13th. Carson Hocevar 14th. Ty Gibbs back-to-back top 5s entering today has jumped to 15th in points, and Brad Keselowski has the final transfer spot for the chase right now in 16th. Daniel Suarez, first driver out, he lost 10 spots in points a week ago. Poor performance with 0. Not a great race finish, I should say, and he didn't score very many stage points to go with that. Ryan Preece is 18, Zane Smith 19, Kyle Busch rounds out the top 20 in the standings. If we look at other statistical categories, Tyler Reddick is the only driver to finish in the top 10 in the first 4 races of the year. And as far as drivers to have more than 2 top 10s this season, there are only 2 other drivers, and that would be Ryan Blaney and Bubba Wallace, the guys who are 2nd and 3rd in points. You're going to see a trend there most of the season where, again, because the consistency matters again, those guys that are going to be up there in the top 5s and top 10s are going to be up at the top of the leaderboard in the standings as well. Now, laps led this season. Christopher Bell's actually led the most laps this year, and that's largely due to leading over 170 of them last week at Phoenix. He has 194 total on the year. Tyler Reddick now has the 2nd most laps led. Joey Logano the 3rd most. Then you got Bubba Wallace with the 4th most laps led, and I believe the 5th most laps led is Kyle Larson with 55. So, actually, no, Chase Briscoe with 58 has the 5th most laps led this season. Poor starts to the season. Obviously, Alex Bowman going to be out of the car again this weekend, missing 2 races in a row. He's sitting 36th in points, last of full-time drivers with missing that race, and now he's going to put himself in an even bigger hole this weekend. Austin Cindric showed a lot of speed in the last 2 races. Spun on a late restart at Coda. Last week got involved in an incident that took him out of the race in stage 2. Despite the fact he was running top 10 throughout, he needs a good run today. He was very off in practice and qualifying. We'll see how it's going to go for him, but not a great start to the season. Josh Berry, another driver who made the playoffs a year ago, actually won this spring race at Vegas. He needs a solid day, sitting 31st in the standings. And Chase Briscoe, 33rd in points after the first 4 races. He did actually have a runner-up finish at Atlanta, but other than that, he has done absolutely nothing this season when it comes to race finish results. He did score some stage points early last week in stage 1, but then had a flat tire in stage 2, and that put him behind the 8 ball. Poor finish again for Briscoe. He needs to have a solid day today. Toyotas look quick, though he did not qualify particularly well because he was actually the first of 36 cars to make a qualifying lap. Therefore, with a clean racetrack, not a very good run, despite the fact that he has a fast car. So despite him starting mid-pack, he should be very fast today. Look out for Briscoe, and he did great yesterday behind the wheel of the O'Reilly Series. Connor Zilic, kind of a poor start to his rookie season in points. He's shown flashes of being fast. I think he can get out of that points hole, but he definitely doesn't want to start too much further behind, sitting 34th in the standings right now after the first handful of races. On to race 5 and trackside for the Command.
Was 4. Jonathan wanted to call it 4. His manager said no. He said, all right, then we're going to name it after you. We're going to call the band Larry. Larry said, corn will do just fine.
That was a quick little story that I did not have any idea of, and it's funny that Mike Joy is able to find that. Probably doing his research through the week, and he was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. I should state that after the Command this weekend. There you have it. Great to know that the new metal band Korn is not named Larry. Thanks for everybody tuning in here today. JoJo, Austin Sullivan, Bond1771, Wayne Martin. I haven't given you guys shout outs yet. Patrick Shadley, good afternoon to you as well. All right. We've got over 65 people in the chat already. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Our like goal is to get to 150 likes for today's stream. We have not missed the like goal on a Cup Series race stream so far this season. So be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. You can vote for who you think is going to win today's race in our chat poll. That will close at the end of stage 2. Your voting options are between my personal top 3 for today's race. My number 1 is Christopher Bell, who has 17% of the votes. My number 2 would be Kyle Larson at 29%. Denny Hamlin, my number 3 pick, is at 12% of the votes. You guys think that somebody other than those 3 will win? 42% of the 59 votes that have been casted so far are thinking that way. We'll see if it works out for you. I could see, obviously, somebody other than those 3 winning, but those are my personal 3 favorites. It'll be kind of fun to gauge where you guys think the race winner will come from in today's Pennzoil 400. All right, so we're going to get into the starting lineup rundown for today's race. So let me pull my notes up on my phone and get that underway. I'm actually watching the race on my phone, streaming from my remote location this weekend away from home in our usual setup. All right. Starting lineup for today's Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas will look like this. On the pole, Christopher Bell for the 4th time ever at Vegas. He has yet to win a race here. He is a former runner-up in 2023, but we'll see if he can finally break through and get the win at this racetrack. He led the most laps a week ago. Denny Hamlin, a 2-time Vegas winner in 2021 and last season in the fall race, got his 60th career Cup win, going for 61 today. In row 2 will be another JGR Toyota with Ty Gibbs coming off back-to-back top 5 finishes in the last 2 weeks. And Bubba Wallace, who sits 3rd in points and has a Vegas best 4th in 2023. In row number 3 will be Kyle Larson, the 3-time Las Vegas winner, and Ryan Blaney, who has a Vegas best of 3rd in 2024. And row 4 will be Tyler Reddick, who's the only driver to finish in the top 10 in all 4 races so far this season, and Ryan Preece, who had a top 10 in both outings at Las Vegas a season ago. And row 5 will be the 2023 Spring Vegas winner, William Byron, alongside Chris Buescher, who has a Vegas best 9th in 2020. Now back in row 6, Austin Dillon, his Vegas best 4th in 2020 as well. And for Zane Smith, 3 finishes of 11th or better start the 2026 season. He'll make up the outside of that row. In row 7 is going to be Daniel Suarez, who finished runner-up in last year's spring event, and Eric Jones, who has 3 career top 10s at the track. Chase Elliott, who is a former runner-up of the fall race in 2021, looking for his first Vegas win. He's been 5 straight races outside the top 10, so not a great track for him. Looking to build on that here today, so look for Elliott to try to break through the recent trend of not running well here at Vegas. Shane Van Gisbergen, great start to the points season for him. He's 5th in the standings after the first 4 races. He rolls off 16th. And row number 9, it'll be Ross Chastain, who's a former runner-up in 2022, and Chase Briscoe finished 4th here last fall. Carson Hocevar will be making his 5th start at Las Vegas, and Riley Herbst, a Las Vegas native, will be making his 3rd. Joey Logano, the 4-time Las Vegas winner, most of any active driver in the field today. 2 of them in the next gen, 2 in the Gen 6 will roll off mid-pack in 21st inside of row 11. And Justin Allgaier to the outside of that row will be making his first Vegas start since 2015, filling in for Alex Bowman, who is out for the 2nd consecutive week with vertigo. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will be on the inside of row number 12 alongside Kyle Busch, the 2009 race winner, on the outside of him. Connor Zilisch, rookie, will be making his Las Vegas Cup Series debut on the inside of row number 13 alongside John Hunter Nemechek. Todd Gilliland on the inside of row 14 alongside 3-time Vegas winner Brad Keselowski. In row 15 will be A.J. Allmendinger, who finished 8th last spring, and Michael McDowell's the pole sitter in that spring race a year ago. In row 16 will be Austin Cindric, who finished 6th last spring, and Josh Berry, who was the race winner last year in this race. Cody Ware with Noah Gragson will make up row 16. Cody Ware making his 10th Vegas start, and a Las Vegas native, 3 of which in the field today, Noah Gragson. Cole Custer is going to be on the inside of row number 18 alongside Ty Dillon. Dillon will be making his 14th start at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That's our starting lineup for today's Pennzoil 400. 36 car field, no open entries for this weekend. And again, visual purposes, today's race will be on Fox Sports 1. And obviously, you can listen live right here on KRC all the way through our full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race. Nufo, thanks for tuning in. Bet Ford 500. KTN USA, also welcome to the stream. Once I saw FS1, knew I was out of luck. Tough break for you. AJ Summers, welcome to the stream. Joe Rochester, thanks for tuning in. Your son's a big Korn and Go Blaney. Oh, right. Yeah, I'm a metalhead. I never really listened to Korn much, though, I will say. I listened to a lot of new metal, like when I was growing up, and then I listen to some heavier stuff now, but I never really ventured into Korn. They are huge as far as like band popularity goes in the metal scene. There's a couple songs that I like from them, but I don't really like venture into them. But it's still cool. Still cool to see him at the racetrack, given the command. Let's see. Currently trying to snow where you're at. Oh man. Yeah, I might have that a little bit later in the week, but not today. Too warm to snow today. I was just talking about earlier in the stream how I had have a high of like 60 degrees today, and it's supposed to be a high of 26 on Tuesday. Just 2 days from now. Unbelievable. I think it's supposed to be like 60 again tomorrow, too. Got like 2 days of 60 degrees and then a high of 26 on Wednesday. Or Tuesday, sorry. Good old Ohio. All right, we'll get the live leaderboard back up and running now. Wind is pretty gusty at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Speeds of the wind 15 to 26 miles an hour today, and that is not counting the gusts, obviously. And it'll be a headwind down the back straightaway with a tailwind down the front stretch. So we might see more passing opportunities in turn 1 rather than turn 3. Of course, the front stretch a longer straightaway than that of the back stretch as well, so restarts could get wild. Our stage splits today will be 80, 85, and 102, making up the 3 full stages of this 400-mile, 267-lap race. Pit road speed 45 miles per hour. Fuel window just over 60 laps. That would be green flag laps. Obviously, if we have any cautions, they can try to stretch that out a little bit more. They will have to pit for fuel and tire purposes at some point throughout each of the all three stages, sorry. Once I spit that out. So we will be seeing pit stops pretty regularly. Going to see a decent amount of tire fall off as well. Toyota starting off in the top 4 positions. Going to get the drop of the green flag shortly. Lights are out on the pace car. They'll be going green this time by. We'll have 2 Chevys starting inside the top 10, 3 Fords, 5 Toyotas on the manufacturer race side of things. I've already mentioned a couple times in the pre-race about Toyota dominating on-track activity yesterday between practice and qualifying. Fully expecting some more dominance here today as well. All right. Toyota Camry pace car headed for pit road. Christopher Bell, our pole sitter, elects the inside of road number 1. Yesterday in the O'Reilly race, the inside lane was where the leader had restarted for every restart of the 8 cautions we saw. And starting things off with more of the same for the Cup race today. Green flag is in the air. The Pennzoil 400 is underway. Great start for Christopher Bell. Well clear into the first turn. Moving up high in front of his teammate Denny Hamlin. Back to the bottom through turns 1 and 2. As they circuit their way up off the exit of turn 2, it is still Bell, and he's pulling Hamlin with him down the backstretch. And Hamlin with a hard charge into turns 3 and 4, looking to the outside of Christopher Bell, but Bell will hold on for now. See how, and one car sideways off turn 4, big save. That was Shane Van Gisbergen in the 97. Got clipped in the left rear corner panel. There was some damage from another race car. It looked like there was a tire rub for somebody entering turn 1, but we stay green for now. Not sure exactly who might have had the tire rub. Looked like maybe Daniel Suarez in the 7 had made contact with his former teammate. And already a battle for the lead at the end of the second lap. Bell will lead the first 2 laps of the race, but Hamlin is on the inside. Got there in the middle of turns 3 and 4, looking to complete the pass through 1 and 2, but Bell holds strong in that middle to upper groove above the bumps that are laid out along the inside lane of turns 1 and 2. Hamlin side drafts him down the backstretch. Bell will side draft him right back into 3, trying to hang on the right rear corner panel. But Denny Hamlin is clear, and he'll lead his first lap of the race on lap 3, already our first lead change. Bell from the pole leads the first 2, second starting position for Hamlin, leads the next. Hamlin the winner last fall, his 60th career win in the NASCAR Cup Series, trying to go for number 61 here today. And they're showing a replay, and it was actually contact with Eric Jones in the 43 with Shane Van Gisbergen, as SVG might have gotten a bit tight in an already 3-wide battle off the exit of turn 4. Side-to-side contact with the 43. And again, a great save by Van Gisbergen, and we stay green. No major enough tire rub that we've seen Eric Jones come to pit road with that contact as well. And obviously the 97 of Van Gisbergen still out on the racetrack also. Top 5 in the running order at the end of lap 5 have Denny Hamlin in the lead, Christopher Bell second, Ty Gibbs in third, Kyle Larson fourth, and Bubba Wallace in fifth. See if there's any big movers on that initial start. Could have been with all the commotion going off of turn 4. 5 spots gained for Chase Elliott already as he's broken into the top 10. Much needed after a mediocre qualifying effort yesterday. Brad Keselowski starting very deep in the field, also up 5 positions in the first 6 laps. 7 spots lost for John Hunter Nemechek, 6 for Michael McDowell, although I think he had to drop to the rear at the start of the race today. Justin Allgaier in the 48 car. Backwards 6 positions, Austin Cindric up 6 in the early laps. Some of the bigger losers, bigger gainers as we get things started this afternoon.
So moving up. He's very upset after qualifying. His cars did not have the speed they had shown earlier this season in qualifying. He said, we'll get it figured out, and we're going to move forward. Right now, he's in 18th.
Yeah, that was kind, Mike, the way you said it. He was pretty blunt about his description of the cars. You see Joey's gone by both of those Spire cars right there.
Kyle Larson closing on Ty Gibbs. This is third place.
We talked at the top of the show just about the expectations for Kyle Larson at this racetrack. He was able to win yesterday, but the wider this racetrack gets, the more it plays into Kyle Larson's hand.
And I'm right behind him as well. I'm watching the battle behind him. I agree. And who else does that outside line? Right there, Tyler Reddick passes his teammate Bubba Wallace on the outside. I mean, clear at the fence, too.
And they're creative. Reddick, Larson, Bell, they're really creative, and usually the first ones to search on the racetrack to be able to put their car in a position that nobody else's is in. And can do things with the race car up next to the wall and on the entry that a lot of the guys in the field can't do. So they're very versatile.
There's the Xfinity cam on board Bubba, who started fourth, currently sixth, right behind his teammate.
Get to hear a lot of that engine noise, and it's such a mellifluous sound around this racetrack.
You don't even know what that is. It is not right
to hear the sound of that car.
That big a word for a four-syllable word.
Yeah, that's one
big a word for a
that's one that Clint can't say.
That's wrote down right in front of you with the syllables. Let me clean this up here. Those 4 drivers I mentioned did not go to the back, did not go to the rear for the start. They lost their pit selection and their car chief. That being Cindric, Ty Dillon, Allmendinger, and Byron. Denny Hamlin has led 9 of 11 laps in Las Vegas.
All right, there you have it. First 2 laps of the race led by Bell. The rest led by Denny Hamlin as he's approaching double digits this time by at the start-finish line. With Denny Hamlin out in front, it is a 0.4 of a second gap back to Christopher Bell in second, 2.1 seconds to Ty Gibbs in third, then 2.5 seconds to Kyle Larson in fourth. Tyler Reddick 3.2 seconds out of the lead in fifth. Bubba Wallace in sixth, 3.5 seconds back. Ryan Blaney, the highest running Ford, in seventh, 4.1 seconds out of the lead. William Byron 5.3 out of the lead in eighth. Ryan Preece in ninth, 6.2 back. And Chris Buescher 6.8 seconds out of the lead in 10th. So the top 10, the intervals between them, early laps of today's race at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We'll stay right here. Dean Tate, Tim Fowler, thanks for tuning in. And we will take another look at the chat poll. Dirty Reg 22 also welcome to the stream as well. Take Reddick, Logano, or Byron for the outright. All right. All over the board. Your best for each manufacturer. 78 votes have been casted so far for who you think is going to win today's race. 38% are taking somebody other than my personal top 3, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, or Denny Hamlin. 29% have Kyle Larson for the win. 17% took Bell, and Hamlin at 15% has gone up 3% since the start of the race, with Hamlin leading the early laps. And other was at 42% in the pre-race, now is down to 39%. Again, 79 votes have been casted there, and you have until the end of stage 2 to vote for who you think is going to win today's race. Long ways to go here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway as we're just getting started in this 400-mile, 267-lap race. We should start to see pit stops right around lap 40, which would be around the midway point of stage 1, if we do stay green long enough. We only had 1 green flag run longer than 27 laps yesterday in the O'Reilly Series race, had 8 cautions in that event. And the longest green flag run was actually the last 42 laps going caution-free to the end. Kyle Larson went on to win that race yesterday. There were 4 Cup regulars pulling double duty this weekend for both the O'Reilly and Cup races. Those drivers are Chase Briscoe, Kyle Larson, Cole Custer, and Connor Zilisch. No trucks this weekend at Vegas. They had the week off. It'll be a triple duty again next weekend at Darlington. as the trucks will return after their 2-week hiatus. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we'll be doing live commentary streams next weekend. We don't just do these for the Cup Series every weekend. We do these for other series as well. So our next live commentary stream will actually be 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Friday night with the truck race. And again, should be a lot of fun. Darlington, always a lot of fun. First of 2 trips there on the season. Bell is not letting Denny Hamlin walk away from him. They're kind of trading lap times back and forth as far as who is faster than the other. Hamlin may be a little bit better on the short run with that fire off. The fact that he was able to make the pass on Bell around the high side in those first couple of laps. Fastest lap of the race was on lap 2 by Denny Hamlin with a 29.454. There is a bonus point that is awarded to the fastest lap of the race, so we'll monitor that as we progress forward here today. During the commercial break, Tyler Reddick made a pass for 4th on Kyle Larson. And that was the only pass for position inside the top 10 that happened during the commercial. Larson still the highest running Chevy and one of 2 in the top 10. Everybody that started this race in the top 10 is running there right now. Chase Elliott got up to 10th on that initial start, but then was quickly passed back by Chris Buescher just a couple laps later. And Elliott still remains in 11th. Chase Briscoe up 5 positions to 13th. We'll keep an eye on him. He's kind of one of those drivers that started mid or back in the pack. That is one to watch. Joey Logano as well. Middle of the pack, started 21st up to 16th. And Ross Chastain, who has 5 top 10s in the last 8 races here, including a runner-up in 2022. Got a few top 5s in there. He's up 2 spots to 15th. Still green for the first 21 laps of the race. Fast and rapid start. Already seen a decent amount of tire fall off as we're 21 laps in. The last lap, Denny Hamlin ran a 31.006. His fastest lap, again, was a 29.454, so over 1.5 seconds of fall off over the first 20 laps. Tires are going to be important here today. You're going to want to take them almost every pit stop you can. No 2 versus 4 tire stops for today like you saw at Phoenix at various times last week. It's pretty much going to be 4 tires every time you come down to pit. Right, Keselowski up another position. And I believe he's the biggest gainer in this race so far. He's up to 18th. And that was after starting 28th. Cindric is up 10 positions as well. 11 spots now. He's up to 20th after starting 31st. So between Cindric, Logano kind of moving forward, it's good to see the Fords and Keselowski for that matter that didn't show as much pace in practice yesterday, maybe showing a bit more in the race today. Adjustments made overnight. Always a learning experience. You can go to the same track once or twice throughout the course of a season, year in, year out. Just because you're fast one year doesn't mean you're automatically going to be fast the next. For instance, Joey Logano, a 2-time winner here in the next-gen era, in the 8 races we've seen at Las Vegas, and he was dead last in practice yesterday. Team Penske as a whole, the highest in the practice running order was Ryan Blaney, and I believe he was 28th in that session. Josh Berry for the Wood Brothers, the affiliated Ford, who won this race last spring, he was 29th in practice. We'll see on the longer run side of things, we get 30 to 40 laps in if we're going to see more movement through the field. Because again, we haven't really seen that yet for the most part. We've seen a couple passes up inside the top 10 here and there, but none over the last probably 10 laps or so. Looks like Kyle Larson catching back up to Tyler Reddick. Reddick passed him up during the last commercial break, and during this one, they're only within a couple tenths of one another. I don't know that Reddick necessarily pulled away from Larson after he made the pass on him the first time either. But he's definitely putting a lot more pressure on him now. Trying to get that pass back. And if we see anybody kind of short pit before lap 40, which there's a tendency for that to happen, I would expect to see the first cars coming onto pit road in less than 10 laps. Lap 28 at the line. Full field running order rundown here in the first 15 minutes of the race. You got Denny Hamlin leading, Christopher Bell in second, Ty Gibbs third, Tyler Reddick fourth, Kyle Larson in fifth. Then Bubba Wallace sixth, Ryan Blaney seventh, William Byron eighth, Ryan Preece ninth, Chris Buescher rounds out the top 10. 11th is Chase Elliott. 12th is Zane Smith, Chase Briscoe 13th, Austin Dillon 14th, and Joey Logano 15th. 16th, Ross Chastain, Carson Hocevar 17th, Daniel Suarez 18th, Brad Keselowski 19th, and Austin Cindric 20th. Riley Herbst 21st, Eric Jones 22nd, Kyle Busch 23rd, Justin Allgaier 24th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 25th. Then 26th is Noah Gragson, Todd Gilliland 27th, John Hunter Nemechek 28th, Josh Berry 29th, and AJ Allmendinger 30th. Michael McDowell 31st, Cole Custer 32nd, Shane Van Gisbergen 33rd, Connor Zilch 34th, Ty Dillon 35th, and 36th is Cody Ware. Every car that started the race still on the lead lap. The lap traffic is going to be coming within a couple of laps here for Hamlin, likely before we get into the green flag pit stops. The lead is still within 4 to 5 tenths of a second between Hamlin and Bell. Ty Gibbs was actually the fastest car on the racetrack in third place at last lap with a 30.99.
Up on Christopher Bell, third place Ty Gibbs has been the fastest car on the racetrack. Well, our area coverage brought to you by Goodyear, tried, tested, and proven legendary. There are the leaders.
And now you see them all over the racetrack. And this is when you start to see whose cars are long run cars. And this is going to be, I mean, around lap 40 is where you're going to want to start looking at pitting. And once that first guy pits, then it forces everybody's hands. So might see some guys pit a little bit early, but we want to split this up right in the middle, best case scenario. Larry?
Yeah, again, the fuel window is 60 to 64 laps. Don't think that's a factor right now. First stage is 80 laps. Kevin, to your point, split it, but I think what we're going to see with this tire package, we're closing in on 2 seconds of fall off. I think you'll start to see them come early. We saw them come last year as early as lap 31, lap 32. You get in there a little early to get advantage of those fresh tires. Now check that graphic on the right. 4 of those 5 are Fords. To your point at the top of the race, didn't qualify well, didn't have a lot of speed, but moving up. All right, pit stops have begun. Tyler Reddick getting service.
Yep.
And with him, Briscoe. Austin Cindric is in. Justin Allgaier. Kyle Larson.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of these guys that are pitting early now. A lot of it depends on who you're racing around. So the longer you can wait, if you're not worried about getting past, it will be beneficial to have fresher tires. Jamie?
Larson pulling into his pit box. They're calling off just a it came back in front as those tires wore out. It'll be a 4-tire stop here. You see that adjustment right there that we talked about for Kyle Larson as they work on the left side. Solid stop.
All the Hendrick cars stopped. Brian Blaney, Kyle Busch in the pit lane, Eric Jones, Noah Gragson, Josh Berry, last year's winner, Austin Dillon, and here are the leaders. Hamlin, Gibbs, Bubba Wallace.
So the 20 car stayed out, but he got held up by the 11 car coming down the pit road. Obviously, the 45 car, Reddick, was the first one on pit road. Keep an eye on that track map up in the top left.
Yeah, what's going to happen? The 54 pitted, the 11 pitted. So what's going to happen right here? Not only did he give up time get the pit road, but he's also going to get up a couple seconds each lap that he stays out, but he's on pit road.
That hurt him bad with the 20 car. Bell is in along with Ryan Priest, who's the second place car, as we cycle through stops here at lap 36.
Yeah, you see Kyle Larson right there at the top of your screen, just behind.
And you see Reddick behind him, but run down the 11, made a lot of ground up on the 11 car.
But that's okay. You want to give up as much of that gap as possible. If you can get one lap out of that swing on tires and have fresher tires, it puts you in a better spot.
Now let's keep an eye on that. See, there's the 11. That's how much time we were talking about that the 20 car gave up, making that extra lap and getting slowed up at the 11 pitting. Briscoe.
Yeah, that's going to drop Christopher Bell out of the top two. Probably a couple more spots even beyond that, with pitting later than those that are cycling ahead of him. Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, and Ty Gibbs all able to get by Bell, who was initially in second place within a half a second of Hamlin when the green flag pit stop started, and now is back to at least fifth. Joey Logano staying on the racetrack, trying to run long. He is now the new race leader, as he has led the last couple of laps consecutively, with Christopher Bell surrendering the lead a little bit after Denny Hamlin had come onto pit road and surrendering his lead first. 2 laps shy of halfway through stage number 1. Of the cars that have not yet hit pit road, that would include Logano, Hocevar, Chastain, Keselowski, Suarez, Stenhouse, McDowell, Custer, Zilich, Cody Ware. Each of the top 10 have not yet hit pit road. Everybody else has. That's why you see on the further right-hand side of the screen the amount of positions gained since the race started, up over 20 for some of those drivers. It is because they have not yet pitted in stage 1. And they will at some point. They can't run all the way to the end of the stage. They're trying to stay out now, hoping for a caution that would bring everybody to pit road. And or just trying to maybe split this thing exactly down the middle. Joey Logano in the 22 is coming to pit road this time, so not looking to run extraordinarily long, but trying to get to lap 40, which it will be lap 40 this time by the line. So halfway through the stage, and that's when the 22 team's on to pit road. We'll see if that brings anybody else.
Suarez. Yeah, we talked about
Suarez into the pits also.
They usually do, Clint. They typically make their cars better, but
That's what champions do.
yeah, and he's going to lose some positions with this cycle staying out on the racetrack. But your hope is that you can gain them back with the use of the fresh tires.
Bad luck continues for Chase Briscoe this season. A speeding penalty in stage 1. That's going to drop him a lap down with a pass-through penalty after working his way from qualifying mid-pack to just outside the top 10 before the pit stop started. And now he's going to have to come down and, again, a pass-through penalty to serve the pit road speeding violation. Also, with the pit road speeding penalty during the green flag stops was the 48 of Justin Allgaier, so he too will end up off of the lead lap as he has to serve his pass-through penalty. Ross Chastain just came into the pits. Same for Carson Hocevar. That gives the lead now to Brad Keselowski. Only Keselowski, Custer, and McDowell have to hit pit road. And Brad K is in right now, in fact, so only Custer and McDowell still have to hit pit road in stage 1.
Than any other track configuration in NASCAR.
Well, they always get better on race day, but the thing that this 6 car has to figure out, they have to qualify better. Otherwise, they're not going to score any stage points, and they're not going to win. So, I think that Brad definitely knows how to get it done, but they got to get better on Saturday to put themselves up in the front of the pack and not have to battle that uphill battle all day.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he wasn't great at qualifying last year either. Keselowski definitely qualified back half of the field. It seemed like more often than the front half. And obviously with the broken femur, I'm sure not helping things this year when it comes to having to put down a fast lap, trying to be comfortable in that race car enough to put the fast lap down. Because he's probably not very comfortable when he's having to hold it semi or mostly wide open around this pretty rough and rigid racetrack. Bottom lane of turns 1 and 2, they were talking about during the O'Reilly series and practice of qualifying yesterday how many bumps there are on that end of the racetrack. That is where the tunnel to get to the infield is. In turns 3 and 4, there isn't as many bumps on that end of the racetrack, a little bit more smooth. But because of those bumps, and because the surface was last repaved back in 2007, it does have a little bit of fall off with the tires. We saw that yesterday. We're seeing that again here today. No surprise. We've seen that in recent years at Las Vegas as well. We had about 2 seconds of fall off during that first run of 30 to 40 laps. Ernest, thanks for tuning in. Brad Keselowski is due for a win. I'm assuming is what you meant to say. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you did correct yourself. Yeah, I mean, due in the sense that it has been a minute, but we'll see if they can pull it off. Tires could be an issue today. Not to the extent that it was last week where we saw tire failures. I mean, we could still see that. We have seen that at pretty much every track, I feel like, with the next gen era when teams trying to be aggressive on the tire pressure, especially in the rear tires, the left rear, the right rear. There were no tire failures yesterday in practice, and obviously none so far in stage one of the race today as well. I will say, of the tire failures that happened, and a decent amount of them in the Cup race last weekend, there was none in stage one. Remember, stage one actually went caution free, despite the fact that we still had double-digit caution count last weekend. And a decent amount of yellows yesterday in the O'Reilly race for completely different reasons, but had 8 of them in a 300-mile race. It's quite a few. And that race usually doesn't yield a lot of cautions. Lap 47 of 80 in stage 1, 47 of 267 total. We're in the first 25 minutes of the race. We'll take our first break. You're listening live on KRC. We got 150 people currently watching in the chat. Be sure to hit the like button. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe for more NASCAR content. No diecast showing at the end of stage 2 this week. I don't have any on me, streaming from my remote location. Didn't have any power back at home on Friday night. I didn't want to risk anything coming home, and it was going to be a late stream as well for me today with them being out on the West Coast as well, so didn't want to risk anything happening there. Regine Huddleston, thanks for tuning in.
Reddick right behind Bell. Larson Chevy and 5 Toyotas front of the field. The first Ford is Blaney in 8th.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to think that Ty Gibbs was right on the back bumper of this 11 car, Denny Hamlin, and they caught that traffic, and a couple decisions were made of how they went through the traffic, and now Kyle Larson's all over the back bumper of the 54 with a whole bunch of lap traffic in front of him still.
I think what you're trying to say is experience is paying off in that traffic a lot of times.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is just the timing of how you position it and get through there correctly.
In fact, he's got the lead.
Yeah.
Christopher Bell came in here probably not being able to see a level ground from the hole that he was in, and things have not gotten better with that pass-through penalty for speeding coming onto pit road. Excuse me. Yeah, Briscoe here. Yes, thank you.
Briscoe got caught speeding on pit road, and Kevin, we've covered this. Man, we're trying to dig ourselves out of a hole. These are the situations we can't afford to have.
You got to do the little things right, Clint. You can't speed on pit road. You can't get into accidents. You can't do all these things with this new chase format. And the hole that he is in right now, he's just kind of throwing dirt on himself right here with a speeding penalty today.
There is Briscoe, 33rd in the standings, 178 points out of first.
And it's tough to be in that situation, right? While you look over and all 3 of your teammates are right at the top of the board.
And he's been fast. He's had speed in every race we've been to.
Well, the only reason he didn't start up his teammates, Clint, is because he had to go out so early in qualifying. And as that track gets better and better at qualifying, the speeds pick up. So that's that compounding problem that you have when you have a bad finish. Then you have to go out early in qualifying, and it just makes it worse.
That hole gets deeper.
But he's got a fast car. I mean, he's going to get himself back in a position to where he can get back on the lead lap, but it's going to take all day.
And it also puts you in situations on a restart or whatever the case may be where you can get into something again that wasn't necessarily your doing.
One bright spot to his season. He finished second at Atlanta. But at Daytona, crashed 36th. At Coda, Transax 37th. Phoenix, crashed 37th. And here we are. He is 1 lap down, but he is the 4th car 1 lap down. So not really in position to get the free pass. He's got work to do.
Yeah, and right now, with all the lap traffic in front of Denny Hamlin, you're gonna constantly just keep chasing them because they're gonna keep putting cars a lap down as we keep flicking these laps off.
Hamilton with a good sized pack of traffic ahead. We've been green since the start. And a lot of those drivers that made long runs on that first set of tires, as you pointed out, once the leaders started pitting, they were losing time, and now quite a number of them are in danger of going a lap down.
And the thing right now, I think that as we look at Austin Cindric, the one thing that's going to happen is they're going to get to that lap traffic, but Austin Cindric has done a great job today. They obviously didn't qualify. None of these cars qualified very well, and they're all making their way forward.
Well, and we're starting to see some Fords making some progress. At the beginning of the race on the left side of our board, we only saw, one or two Fords on the left side. See a lot of them now. So you can't turn your back on a good organization, a good team. We covered that in a pre-race with Roger Penske, and you're not going to keep those cars down.
3 and 6 to start with 26 cars on the lead lap. Denny Hamlin has led 44 spots.
All right, so we're down to 25 laps to go in this first stage. Actually, 24 to go this time by at the line. Denny Hamlin, the current race leader, he's got an 0.8 of a second lead over his teammate Ty Gibbs in second, 1.2 seconds to Kyle Larson in third, 1.3 seconds to Christopher Bell in fourth. So pretty tight, those top four positions altogether, and that was even with a run of green flag pit stops already. Bubba Wallace, 3.2 seconds out of the lead in fifth. Tyler Reddick is 4.2 back in sixth. Seventh place is William Byron at 5.5 seconds out of the lead. 7.4 back for Ryan Preece in eighth. Ryan Blaney 8.8 back in ninth. And Chase Elliott 9.1 seconds out of the lead, rounding out our top 10. So that's the top 10. 7 lead changes so far. No cautions. Just over half hour into the race. First stage break will be at lap 80 with this 80-lap first stage. 85 laps in stage 2. 102 in stage 3. Ty Gibbs is closing in on Denny Hamlin through lap traffic. Hamlin's lead is now descended down to a little less than a half a second over Gibbs. And as of right now, also, we have 25 cars that are on the lead lap. Noah Gragson is the first car lap down. Chase Briscoe, obviously, with the pass-through penalty, trying to race his way up to the free pass position if possible. He's in 30th. Justin Allgaier also had a pass-through penalty, though he is multiple laps down. Shane Van Gisbergen, I believe, had to repair a little bit of damage after contact on track on the opening lap of the race. So he is 2 laps down also, with having a lengthier green flag pit stop. Christopher Bell battles back past Kyle Larson for third. Down on the front stretch, went to the apron through the tri-oval. Clear high on Larson into turn 1. Larson gets tight, has to lift. Lost a ton of ground, but still remains in fourth. Ty Gibbs was closing in for a short bit on Denny Hamlin. Got that lead down to under half a second. Now all of a sudden he's over a second out of the lead. And Bell is the one putting pressure on Gibbs for second place rather than Gibbs on Hamlin.
Both Laney and Ferguson persecutors. Switch belt begins. Denny Hamlin in front of them. JGR out in front of the field. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, a couple things that I've noticed here. The 54 is not as good through traffic as the 11 car is. It's really held him up a lot more than Denny Hamlin. And the benefit of having those fresher tires, I know it's only 1 lap, 2 laps for Christopher Bell, but he's able to get and maneuver better than these guys that stayed out those 1 or 2 laps longer than he did.
You're right, but I do think it's kind of the slinky effect. He's just kind of paying back what he lost in that staying out.
But when you have fresher tires like Bell does right now, it just makes you to have that little bit of turn advantage, a little bit of grip advantage to be able to navigate when you're in this heavy traffic a little bit better than the other cars.
Which, to your point, is obviously different than the first time around. I mean, now you're mired in traffic spread out with the green flag stop there all over the racetrack. So you're going to be in traffic a lot more. You need a maneuverable race car. Looking in that shot, you saw Gibbs get tight behind the 5 car got really tight in the wake of that. That's the things that you have to be careful of. You got to have a maneuverable car, as Kevin talks about all the time on a track like this. That way you can get out of their wake.
But think about when you were leading these races and running up front, and then you catch the back of the field, and all of a sudden that guy be locked down in your line, and you weren't versatile. This is really when you get to see who's got the most versatile car that can maneuver around, ride close to cars, and get creative with the line. And that blue car right there, that HenryCars.com Chevrolet of Kyle Larson,
He's one of them.
he's one of those guys that can just be creative in traffic, and that keeps him in so many races, even like yesterday when he doesn't have the best car.
Looking at him from the Ford Racing Cam on board, Towner Noah Gregson. Larson's last 7 races here include 3 wins and 2 second-place finishes. You call that the smart money man. Yeah, and exactly what we're talking about. See, as in the wake of that car, how much throttle off time Gregson has right here. We're following on and listening to his throttle. A lot of throttle off time. Tells me that car's pretty tight. You know, guys, we've been talking about the Toyotas, but I'm going to focus on one of the Ford drivers. Ryan Priest is 60. He has been picking up over these last few laps. His lap times have been really good, but look at his data. He's really good through the middle of the corner. He picks the throttle back up. He has to play with it a little bit, but he's picking it up a lot earlier than most of the other guys at the front of the pack. All right, that tells me the car's probably turning a little bit better, and he's getting to the throttle, enabling him to drive through the corner on the. Reese likes this place. He finished top 10 in both races here last year, and they allowed us to sit in on today's pre-race meeting.
Qualifying went pretty well. Thanks for when we went out. We got the almost a few spots. It's like we got a fast car, we got a great driver, great kick to the right. And as long as the two makes it, doesn't mess around, listen to the engineer.
Great.
Steve, like I said, skip or we can move to man, all right? On to me, guys. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Jordan Priest in 8th, right with Tyler Reddick. Denny Hamlin, Christian Bell for the lead. Denny's going to have gets right back to this outside. He's trying to drop off a Nemechek in front of him, but now he's got Nemechek in right in the wake of him. Not going to be able to complete it quite yet. Look at that. Look at the momentum on the outside. Here comes Denny Hamlin back to the point.
And that's just the difference in how those lap cars got timed out right there. But think how many times we've seen these two teams stay out longer to be able to have that tire advantage, give up 3 or 4 spots, and then make it back up on the long run.
And this is why, as a leader, you're looking at Nemechek, just pick a line. He ran the bottom of 1 and 2 and then the top of 3 and 4. That's hard to be able to navigate around him. But he's also fending for a position, trying to stay on the lead lap. Side by side again for the lead in heavy traffic.
What a mess.
Look how hard he's racing to stay on that lead lap, talking about Nemechek. Riley Hurts moves over. Hometowner there in the 35. Nemechek up top. That Kyle Busch has just gone a lap down. Whoa, that's close.
Well, they're pushing really hard right now. Nemechek's pushing really hard.
Which one? Look at the lead right behind him.
And all of them want control of the race as a leader, and the 2 cars in front of them don't want to be a lap down. And if you are, you want to be that lucky dog. So Kyle Busch is hoping right now that these leaders stay side by side, and he doesn't have to, be a lap down when it's all in.
Did you see that 20 car hunting that white line? I mean, hugging it all the way around the corner. That's asking a lot out of these cars. That car is fast.
But there's a lot of grip down there, Clint. If you can just rub that apron just a little bit, you see Bell clearing right there. It partial throttle like we were talking about around that white line. It just rips that car, especially on old tires.
Now watch Nemechek give him fits. All right, I'm going to go to the outside. Mirror driving, but that's what you got to do to keep him behind you. And that's what happens. Nemechek right up to the top of the racetrack, trying to stay on the tail end.
Here comes Larson.
Denny's in trouble. Looks tight, Kevin.
Well, they're all going to be tight when you get traffic like this, and I think it's just a matter of being able to find that spot. But Hamlin and Gibbs have definitely had Hamlin really just started struggling later here in traffic, but looks like the 5 and the 20 are able to maneuver, and that goes right back to being creative and versatile in traffic.
Looking back from Denny Hamlin's Toyota Racing Cam. And Kyle Anderson alongside him. You hear how Nemechek right there. You heard him lift, crack out of the throttle. That's because Nemechek was in his outside. He wasn't clear. Had to give that position back. Frustrating.
Right now, that 5 car's flying, Clint.
I told you.
Well, we knew this would be the big test of where Hendrick Motorsports and Kyle Larson were, but right now they've got that thing dialed in.
And with 7 to go, Tyler Reddick has dropped almost out of stage point contention. What's up there, Larry?
Well, Bell paid dividends by waiting to pit. Reddick is paying the price now for being the first to pit. He's starting to really, the tires are starting to really go away.
He wasn't the best on that first run on the long run either. That speed at the beginning, but fell off towards the end. I think it's the same thing is happening here, but 2 dirt racers. Kevin, tell me about this Gen 7 car. And as soon as we went to this car in these 1.5 miles, it really lit them up, right? Woke these racetracks up for us as a product of NASCAR. And how does that play into these 2 dirt racers' hands? It's always guys that you talk about that can maneuver around and get creative behind the wheel. And you don't look much further than those 2 dirt racers, Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson.
Well, I think the creativity in this car is important because of the aero effects that happen when you follow a car directly, and that front end just will not turn if you're right behind another car. So you have to go somewhere else on the racetrack to be able to find some clean air, high, low, timing of traffic, and just that creativity that those dirt guys have just makes them great.
Ross Chastain continue to move up. There's the Kubota Cam on his 80-mile-an-hour tractor.
A lot of tractors out there getting up, crops in the ground, get that ground prepared.
Ryan Blaney's been one of the best Fords today. First winner last week. His spotter, Tim Feedorm, longtime spotter, Busch Series competitor. Before that, Chick Feedor's dad, Butch, was a Michigan Hall of Famer, one of 300 features. He was a superstar in the state of Michigan as a racer and was a second-generation driver himself. Passed away recently. Our condolences to the Feedorm family.
Pretty much every week, it seems, Clint, especially when we get into the race and long runs, that this 12 car is just a class of the Ford field. And today he's the leading Ford. Well, he's the second Ford right now, behind Ryan Preece, but
all weekend long he has been. You're right. I'm on the same page. I mean, it's what he's able to do behind the wheels is different.
Now we see Denny Hamlin starting to fade. Ty Gibbs has ran up to the back bumper of that 11 car. Took off really good on this run, but has definitely struggled with the second half of this portion on this set of tires.
It's just not holding the center at all. That's what Larry was talking about. And we can't get across the middle of the racetrack. The thing looks tight to me.
And it's such a fine line to be able to have it tighten up to where the car's underneath you. But the problem is when it's too tight, you can't run the bottom and you're slow down there, and then you move up to the top, and that thing will get tight as you get to the early middle part of the corner. So you can't carry the speed in the corner to keep the car rotating. So it'll hurt you in 2 different spots here a lot of times if it's too tight.
Final lap, stage 1. One of these drivers is going to end up third. Christopher Bell out in front of Kyle Larson by 1.2 seconds. Here's the race for third. As they come to the green and white checkers, Bell picks up the stage win. His second of the season. He won stage 2 last week. Larson, Hamlin, Gibbs, plus Buckland, Preece, Elliott, Blaney, Reddick, the top 10. Christopher Bell, your stage winner.
All right, Christopher Bell, your stage 1 winner here today at Las Vegas. Kyle Larson second, Denny Hamlin third, Ty Gibbs fourth, and Bubba Wallace rounds out the top 5 and fifth. 6 for William Byron, Ryan Preece 7th, Chase Elliott 8th, Ryan Blaney 9th, and Tyler Reddick rounding out the top 10. 1 point per position there. Second stage win of the year for Bell. 10 lead changes in the first stage of today's race. 1 caution, obviously that being the stage break we're under right now from lap 80. So caution free through stage 1 by way of incidents. Clean and green. Sarah Gutierrez, thanks for tuning in. Ryan Blaney fan as well. Good to see. Good to see. God Rides a Harley, thanks for tuning in. Pulling for the 20 of Christopher Bell. check in on our chat poll again to see who is leading. And every time I look, other is dropping in percentage. And Denny Hamlin has kind of been going up that I've noticed. Christopher Bell at 15% of the votes is the last of the voting options, despite the fact that he is the Stage 1 winner. Denny Hamlin second in the, not second, but third in the stage. He has 18% of the votes. Kyle Larson, who was second in the stage, 29%. Somebody other than those three, 38%. Kind of fitting all three of those guys were the top three at the end of stage 1. 120 votes have been casted so far. That can still change. Again, you have until the end of stage 2 to vote. And don't forget the Fantasy League locks up at the end of stage 2 as well for your starting 5. So make sure to have your fantasy lineup set by the end of lap 165. We'll have our first pit stops under a caution period coming up during the stage break. For right now, we'll take a quick break of our own. You're listening live on KRC. Like goal for today's stream is to get to 150, so be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Make sure I didn't miss any other super chats. Thank you again, Robert, for the two $5 super chats that were left in the pre-race. There we go. We're at 73 likes so far. We have about double that many people watching. So let's see if we can get that like counter to 150. We had up over 200 last week at Phoenix. Setting a pretty high bar to break for the rest of the season, but greatly appreciate everybody that tunes in to these live commentary streams every weekend. Good race so far. Battle back and forth kind of between Bell and Hamlin on various occasions. Kyle Larson coming on strong towards the end of stage 1. We'll see if there's any other comers or goers as we get more pit stops and more opportunities for teams to try to help dial in their race cars.
Only different way. Thinking, which is if there's the guy up and has left that gap such that he can get his nose in there, you got to give the space.
I would agree. And I think that's just a difference in the way that the etiquette of the two series has worked throughout the years. And in NASCAR racing, you got to keep yourself going. You don't want to put yourself in the fence like that.
So check out the all-new Fox Sports digital show, Speed, with Harvick and Buxton, fueled by Poet. Subscribe to Speed on Fox on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcasts. End of stage 1. Bell, Larson, Hamlin, Gibbs, Wallace, the first 5. Jamie?
My Kyle Larson's pit crew has been together for 4 years, but just 1 year with Kyle. And I talked to crew chief Cliff Daniels about that and what he enjoys about this particular team. He said it's their attitude. It's how they respond no matter what happens here on pit road. So as they get ready to come down pit road and pit their driver, let's meet the 5 crew.
Brandon Harder, Miller. This is my 19th year at Hendrick. Mike Voss, we're tire changer. 2023 LeBlanc Victory Champion. Eric Ludwig, Jackman, 2025 Cup Championship last year. Wow, front tire changing. I used to be a choke. Thomas Tire Carrier. Want to shout out niece and nephew, Easton and Riley. Happy birthday.
2024 champions, 2025 champions, rather, of the Cup Series.
Always fun to hear all the stories from where the pit crew guys came from, whether it's athlete, truck driver. You just never know. So a lot of great stories down there.
I agree. All right, this will be the second trip to pit road today. A set of good years and a fill up with Sunoco race fuel with zero carbon bioethanol.
Now, this is one when we talked about William Byron. Keep an eye on him on this. Didn't get a choice on his pits because of inspection.
Regan.
Well, it's been a very smooth start to the day for Bubba Wallace. Tight the first run of the race. Still to the tight side on that 23 car right now. Said he felt like his right front is gone. Needs more front turn, but doesn't want the rear to slide. Chase Elliott, the opposite problem is as he's moved up 7 spots, he's trying to protect against the right rear. Doesn't want to wear it out.
Kyle Larson, 3-time winner here. Not concerned about right rear grip until the very end of that run. Car is good. Meanwhile, the 20, Christopher Bell wanted an adjusted speed up Been taking quite a bit of time on that left rear. We'll check the tires here, guys, see if there's any porting like after the first stop.
There is the race off pit road. You mentioned William Byron, who came in fifth, came out sixth, without having a chance to pick his pit stall based on his qualifying. There's Bell and Larson leading them off pit road at the end of stage one.
All right. So stage one already wrapped up. Christopher Bell, who won the opening stage and has led the most laps so far this season, kind of picking up from where he left off a week ago, where he did lead the most laps at Phoenix. 179 out of 312 last week. Came away with a second place finish. Finished first and second in the first two stages. And here today, he wins his second stage of the season. He won stage two last weekend at Phoenix, so he's won the last two stages now. Kyle Larson sitting in the second place position after leaving pit road just as he came in. Not a lot of change for position inside the top five for the most part there on the pit lane. Back half of the top 10 did fluctuate just a bit. And we'll get an update of what the restart will be looking like when they get back to the start-finish line this following time by. Our raw feed leaderboard updates every time the race leader gets to the start-finish line to start another lap. So under caution, obviously, that's going to last a little bit longer. May have a couple minutes in between our leaderboard changing and updating. 80 likes on the stream on our goal to get to 150, gang. We're past halfway. We're not even halfway through the race yet, so greatly appreciate those that have hit the like button. Subscribe for more NASCAR content along the way as well. We just hit 7,000 subs on the channel last weekend. We're on the road to 8K now. And maybe, just maybe, we get to that big round number of 10K by the end of 2026. That would be fantastic. You guys are the backbone of the channel, the reason why I'm able to do this every single weekend. If it wasn't for you guys tuning back in for these live commentary streams every week, wouldn't be able to do it. So greatly appreciate that and being able to watch NASCAR with all of you at home. More coverage next weekend. We've got 4 live commentary streams. That'll be the first time since a couple weeks ago, because the Truck Series will be back in action, and we will be streaming Friday through Sunday of next week. Darlington across the Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series schedules for next week. Again, Darlington, South Carolina. And start times for those streams next weekend, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, our next live commentary stream Friday night for the truck race. Doubleheader on Saturday with Cup practice and qualifying beginning at 2:30 p.m. Eastern from Darlington. And then at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll be live for the race, which would be for the O'Reilly Series. And then for the NASCAR Cup side, the main event next week, the Goodyear 400, we will be live at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. So that is our start times for next week, and I'll go over those a little bit later in the stream as well. Obviously, with Reddick winning the first 3 races, Ryan Blaney winning the second race, none of those two were in the top 5 at the end of stage 1. This is a very prime opportunity to see our third different winner of the season in these first 5 races. I'm not surprised to see the guys up there at the front running where they are. Those were my top 3 picks, all in the order actually in which I had pegged them 1, 2, and 3. Based off of what I saw in practice and what we've seen with the next-gen car in general on mile-and-a-half tracks, these guys have been the favorites over the last year plus, really.
About Kyle Larson, the speed he has, but those are 2 HMS drivers, William Byron, Chase Elliott, all in the top 8. At the end of that stage, Elliott had a great pit stop. I was impressed that Byron didn't lose anything. Clint mentioned him being in a tough pit stall today. So Hendrick Motorsports answered the question of who's going to be able to compete with Toyotas.
And when we talk about the Toyotas and who's been strong, I mean, Christopher Bell, he's backing it all up. That car has been strong all afternoon long.
Yeah, Bell looked like he was a little bit off that first run. When we saw Denny take the lead from him, kind of questioned, the speed he had in practice. But Adam Stevens, great call, staying out just a little bit longer. And we saw that pay off towards the end of the stage, able to get the stage 1. Bell has the car to beat, but I'm telling you, Kyle Larson, I think if he can get out front, it'd be tough to pass.
It's going to be fun to see how things play out. And stage number 2. And for that, let's send it back up to the guys in the booth. Take it away, Mike.
Thank you, Josh. Now, Christopher Bell just had the second fastest stop of the year. Otherwise, for Joe Gibbs Racing, it all just went away. Now, Hamlin and Ty Gibbs, 2 fast
Wow.
in section number 1. Here is Denny's reaction to the news.
Uh-oh.
not at all what you need on a track like this. You do not want to lose that pit,
Well,
the track position.
he knows how important that track position is, but I think when you see him put his hand up right there, I mean, you're all nose to nose, single file right there. But you put these cars right on the edge on pit road speed, and if that first section being so short, if you miss it just trying to catch the guy in front of you, it'll get you over speed quick.
Here's Ty Gibbs' radio. Now, to add to that, the fourth Gibbs car, Chase Briscoe, had one wheel that did not get tight. He had to stop in Gibbs'
Oh my
box,
goodness.
pit lane, and get it tightened. So that's 3 out of the 4 Gibbs cars having difficulty on this trip to pit road.
And
And
Briscoe
he's
had a
already got
penalty
speed
earlier.
as well, so,
Yep.
You know, it is. You got 3 of the 4 Gibbs cars that have had trouble on pit road to put them back in the pack.
So there's row 2, Wallace and Elliott behind Bell and Larson. Then Byron and Priest, Blaney and Reddick, Hosemer and Smith, the top 10, as they approach the Echo Park.
All right, so here we go. Yep, Bell, Hamlin, Larson, top 3, 4 through 6, Wallace, Elliott, Byron for the restart. Green flag back in the air. Bell takes the inside of row number 1. He was the pole sitter. He won stage number 1. Hamlin, Gibbs, pit road speeding penalties in sector 1. They will be at the back of the lead lap. 23 cars are on the lead lap to begin stage 2. The green flag back in the air, nose to nose, battling for the lead. Larson and Bell, the dirt racing rivals, into turns 3 and 4. Tight battle as well, just behind them, 3 wide between Chase Elliott, William Byron, and Bubba Wallace. Crisscross between Larson from the high side, now taken to the apron through the tri-oval, getting to the inside of Bell and making slight contact with him before entering turn 1. Shallow entry for Larson. Staying with Bell all the way through 1 and 2, despite the contact that they made at the end of the front stretch. Larson so close to clearing through the middle of 3 and 4, but Bell gets that run off the high side. A little bit of a side draft off the right rear corner panel of the 5 car. Pulls past to lead the lap by half a car length, but Larson is still there. Elliott won the 3 wide battle for third. He is clear, getting 2 positions, while the 24 and 23 of Byron and Wallace continue to battle there. And Byron will now slide up in front of Wallace for 4th. Larson and Bell have been practically side by side for all of the 3.5 laps since the restart. Larson had that one crossover, but has not been able to clear back, but hasn't let the 20 get away either. And now that Elliott is no longer 3 wide with the 24 and the 23, he's got a shot to catch these top 2 if they continue to side draft each other down the straightaways like they've been doing. That's why it's so crucial for one of these 2 to just try to clear the other. But they are wasting a ton of time. Larson's got the nose out in front. Shortest way around the track on the bottom through 3 and 4. Bell rips that middle lane. Beats Larson back to the gas, but Larson again hanging on that left rear corner panel. Bell leads that lap of the line. Chase Elliott with a huge head of steam behind him. Contact again between Larson and Bell, and again it's because Larson moves up into the 20 car from the bottom, and after the contact, they're 3 wide for the lead with Chase Elliott underneath both cars. While Larson hangs on Bell, Chase Elliott's trying to steal the lead down on the inside. And they are still 3 wide for the lead as they exit turn 4. Elliott pushing wide. Very tight off the exit of the corner. And now here comes Byron in the 24 with nowhere to go. He'll follow the 5 of Larson. He'll give him a big bump draft in the center of the tri-oval, and Larson has the lead into turn 1. Elliott is clear for 2nd. Bell is swarmed by the HMS Chevrolets around him. Trying to hold on for 3rd with the 24 of Byron underneath, and here comes Reddick in 5th. Ripping the wall is Tyler Reddick on the outside through 3 and 4. Bell hangs on for 3rd. Reddick to the outside of Byron for 4th with a huge head of steam. And he will blow past him before entering turn 1. Bell also, meanwhile, back to the outside of Elliott for 2nd place. Big run on the high side for the 20, and he's clear for 2nd. Top 10 in the running order at the end of lap 95 has Kyle Larson in the lead, Chase Elliott 2nd, Christopher Bell 3rd, Tyler Reddick 4th, and William Byron in 5th. 6th place is Bubba Wallace. 7th is Ryan Priest. Zane Smith up to 8th, Chris Buescher 9th, and Austin Cindric rounds out the top 10 after he started 31st. Still about 70 laps to go here in Stage 2 as we're just getting the second stage started. Roughly 8 laps into the green flag run, an intense battle between Bell and Larson allowed for Elliott to sneak in there, nearly take the lead away. Byron was able to close the gap from 4th, pushed the 5 of Larson through. Elliott got the 2nd. Bell gets back around Elliott for 2nd place and is continuing his press back to Kyle Larson, who we know is not going to give the lead up very easily. Knowing they had a battle side by side for more than 4 laps, I would not be surprised if we see that again. While Tyler Reddick had quickly pulled past the 24 of William Byron a couple laps ago, Byron will battle back to the inside just a few laps later, and they're door-to-door. As they cross the start-finish line, the 24 on the inside and the 45 up high. Nearing 100 laps complete in today's Pennzoil 400. Only about 35 laps or so shy of halfway. And a race that has not seen any cautions for incidents so far. The only yellow was the lap 80 stage break. That lasted for 7 laps. Going to take a quick break here while we await them coming back from commercial on Fox Sports 1. Side by side airing their ad right now. Another look at the chat poll, 136 votes now, 38% of you taking somebody other than Larson, Bell, or Hamlin. Speeding penalty for Hamlin, his voting has dropped off a bit now down to 17%. 14% of you taking Bell, who won stage 1, and Larson, who leads now at 32% of the votes, is closing in on that 38% for somebody other than those 3. And again, that will close at the end of stage 2. May get another chat poll up there as well. Michael R.W., thanks for tuning in. Chris Buescher will win. That's a bold pick. He's been running back half of the top 10 all day. We'll see if he can get that 17 Ford Mustang up there. AJF, welcome to the stream. Pulling for Young Money, Kyle Larson as well. 89 likes so far on our goal to get to 150. I think if we can get to about 110 to 115 by the end of stage 2, we got a real shot to get to our goal. Just over an hour into the race, this thing is flying by with no cautions. Coda, a couple weeks ago, we only had 1 caution for incident that entire race. And that was done in a little less than 3 hours. Maybe looking like that again here today. Should see pit stops under green flag conditions about halfway through the stage, which would be right around lap 40. So the fact that we're on lap 23 in stage number 2 right now, we'll keep an eye on that.
On Fox and ESPN.
Later happened something over Christopher Bell, and as we went to break, he mentioned that Fords that have fought their way into the top 10. Blaney, Priest, Buescher, and Zane Smith all right together, and Austin Cindric in that white number 2 started way deep in the field in 31st position and has climbed his way to 7th.
Yeah, I was concerned about all those cars yesterday in practice, but typical Penske fashion, they figured out how to make them better, and Austin Cindric's been able to drive his way continuously forward as this race is going on. So that's a really good car, and as expected, Blaney in contention right there, not up for the lead, but right there inside the top 10.
Regan?
Mike's out right across in the pit position right now. Priest, one of where he most recently restarted, but something to keep an eye on with this 45 car as the months go on. It gets too tight for him. He is right now trying to manage the front tires, trying to save them. Just recently told the team and crew chief Billy Scott, I'm just going to save it for the rest of this run as long as I can. Jamie?
One driver on the move forward It's William Byron. He's up 4 positions since the start of this race, but happy so far. They unloaded in the ballpark yesterday. Pretty humorless. She told me they just wanted to be a little bit better mid-run, and they're certainly working on that. Radio and this said, once he exits the corner, the car's just putting too much on those tires, trying to save them so much tire top.
Actually, there's Byron right behind him, 2 laps down, or 3 laps down now, Justin Allgaier, who is in the 48 this week as Alex Holman continues to recover from vertigo issues that he first experienced at Coda, where he had to get out of the cone. Jeff Andrews says that Bowman's recovery continues, but he still has some lingering issues with vertigo. We certainly hope that he's back in the car soon. Andrews earlier had said that the team does not feel that those symptoms are concussion related, and we look forward to Alex Bowman's return as soon as he's able.
See Allgaier go by. William Byron right there obviously came to pit road and got some work done on that car to be able to put himself in a position to try to pick up some speed. And being 3 laps down, though, it's going to be a long day. You're going to have a hard time getting any of those laps back because of the fact there's so many cars a lap down.
Can you do something if you're Jeff Andrews and company on the Hendrick camp? Can you do something with that car now that you know he's down and out? Unfortunately, 3 laps down. Can we try something, Larry, with air pressure, something on that car that we can learn to win this race on my other 3 horses?
Well, I could learn to win this race, but remember, this is one of the tracks we have to come back to in the chase. A lot of these tracks right now, so there's a lot of things you can learn for a lot of different reasons. That may have been just what they did when they pitted Allgaier 8 laps ago. He went 2 laps down earlier due to speeding penalties on pit road. Now Larson out in front of Christopher Bell by 0.4 of a second. Chase Elliott, William Byron fill out the front 4. 3 of the front 4, Hendrick Chevys. On what's been a big week for Larson thus far.
All right, Kyle Larson out in front with the race lead, having a 0.3 of a second advantage over Christopher Bell in second. Chase Elliott sits in third, William Byron fourth, and Bubba Wallace rounds out the top 5 in fifth. 6 is Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick 7th, Austin Cindric 8th, Ryan Priest 9th, and Chris Busch are rounding out the top 10. Zane Smith in 11th, Brad Keselowski 12th, Joey Logano 13th, Carson Hocevar 14th, and 15th is Ross Chastain. Denny Hamlin in 16th, Daniel Suarez 17th, Austin Dillon 18th, Ty Gibbs 19th, and 20th is AJ Allmendinger. 21st, Eric Jones. 22nd, Riley Herbst is the last car on the lead lap. And Josh Berry's a lap down in 23rd, Chase Briscoe 24th, Kyle Busch 25th, Connor Zilch 26th, Noah Gragson 27th, 28th is Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Cole Custer 29th, and Todd Gilliland 30th. 31st, John Hunter Nemechek, Ty Dillon 32nd, Cody Ware 33rd, Shane Van Gisbergen in 34th, 35th place is Michael McDowell and Justin Allgaier 36th. That runs out the running order of 36 cars. Again, no open entries for this weekend. 11 lead changes now in the race today. 1 caution, which was a stage break at lap 80. 7 laps spent under yellow. We're on lap 112 of 267. 19 laps led for a current race leader Kyle Larson. Christopher Bell from the pole, winning stage 1, led 27 laps and led a couple different times in that stage. Denny Hamlin has led the most laps today, 59 laps led. He had a pit road speeding penalty under the caution period, set him back. He's already up to 14th again. Ty Gibbs also had a speeding penalty. He is in 18th, a few spots behind Hamlin. He has not yet led today, but was in the top 5 and finished 4th in stage 1. Keselowski led 1 lap during green flag pit stops, 3 for Logano, and 1 for Hocevar during that stretch of stops as well. And those are all the drivers who have led at least 1 lap today. Cole Custer also led 1 lap during green flag pit stops earlier on also. So 7 different drivers have led in today's race across those 11 lead changes. And that's a little race update as we're a little bit shy of halfway. $50 laps to go yet in stage 2. This time by at the start-finish line for Larson, the leader.
It's complete in stage 2. Here's the race leader, Christopher Bell and William Byron. Here's the checkers onboard cam for Kyle Busch. Now he's gone a lap down. He's running in 20. But today, he tied Kevin Harvick's record for the most Cup Series starts at Las Vegas with 29.
He's going to break that one, Mike.
Race leader Kyle Larson lapping at just over 31 seconds. Here's his radio.
From those first handful of laps, Kevin, what's he talking about?
Well, a lot of times it just depends on which end of the run you want.
Think he ran too hard?
Well, those first handful of laps, I didn't really pick up exactly what he was referring to.
Well, he raced hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were 2 and 3 wide, really leaning on a car a lot. It's probably wore the tire off and wore them out.
The ideal way to do it is to just run what you think is a good, solid lap. When you're racing somebody like that, it makes the car tight and you're diving back over, doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Now the Gibbs cars restarted in the trunk, not including Christopher Bell. On the restart, Denny Hamlin has picked up 8. He is currently in 13. Ty Gibbs in 16th. He's picked up 7 spots after having to restart in the rear due to speeding penalties.
So we know Denny Hamlin's got a fast car, but now he's mad. Same thing with Ty Gibbs. Mad at yourself. You let your team down. Now you want to show them that you can drive this thing back up there and put yourself in contention, because they both know that they have cars that are capable of winning this race if they keep up with their car and make good adjustments. But you can't make mistakes, Clint. You just can't make mistakes, and those 1 or 2 moments just put you in a position that you're just having to have restarts in the back. You're having to pass all the cars. You can't work on your car in the front of the pack, so you wind up a run behind of being able to make the changes on your car. So it's
Well, nothing's going to come easy the rest of the day.
no.
You know, guys, we went back racing with 77 to go in this stage. Splitting it is about 6 or 7 laps from now, around lap 125. But I think based on stage 1, we're going to start seeing them hit the road here in the next couple of laps.
Well, look up, Larry.
Right with Ryan Keselowski, the triple onboard camera there as Hamlin goes by. That's for 12th place. Larry, when one driver has a speeding penalty, that's probably on the driver. But when 3 drivers on one team have the same penalty in the same place, that's more than coincidence.
Well, the flying ointment is that first segment. So we got more green flag pit stops, including 24. It's one of the shorter segments, only 89 feet, Mike.
Byron, Reddick, Cindric, Blaney, here they come.
And we saw this strategy from Reddick in the last stage, as you see Larson getting ready to make his way to pit road, but it kind of bit Reddick having to run longer, but it looks like a whole bunch of them are going to come early this time.
Larson and Bell to pit road. Chase Elliott as well. So the first 4 cars are in. Jamie.
40 laps there on that run. Kyle Larson, radio, worst run yet, lacking grip over. Be happy to get these 4 fresh tires. Meanwhile, Bell in the 22 says same thing. Lacking overall grip, it's the worst it's been, and it's basically all over the racetrack. So they made an air pressure adjustment. 4 tires here and get that fresh tear off on the windshield.
So the second track and came in this time, right?
Well, Mike, you see the 9 car Chase Elliott pulling out of the pits right now. Continues to build a little bit too free for him, but he did tell crew chief Alan Gustafson right before he pitted that he felt like he found something with that 9 car that was better. Alan confirmed it. He saw it on the computer and said it does look much better.
Green flag stops. The first 7 drivers still on track. Now some of them begin to cycle back to the pit lane.
And you see Blaney get run this one long. It worked out really well for Bell last time as he got towards the end of that run. So Blaney trying to make something happen, doing a little bit different strategy than everybody else.
So down through Riley Hurst, who got the free pass at the end of stage 1. Those first 7 cars have not been to the pit lane.
So as the ones that did it, though, kind of just set right there where they were. Larson obviously beat Byron out on that short pit. and Bell as well. Running long right here. If we go enough laps and the caution comes, even those that pitted under green, they'll come back and get 4 more tires. So you'll make up a lot of track position.
Well, sometimes you just got to do something different than everybody else. And I think that Blaney was a 7th or 8th place car. So doing something a little bit outside of the box of everybody else and trying to put yourself in tires at the end, as you hear him tell him on the radio to pit this time. So he's going to have, 3 or 4 more laps, newer tires when he comes back out of the pits. But at 2 seconds a lap, that's 6 to 8 seconds that you gave up staying out there. So see if the juice is worth the squeeze when we get to the end of this stage.
Josh Berry and Todd Gilliland, too fast entering pit road. Berry in section 1, which is what caught everybody else today. Gilliland in section 7.
Well, that's an interesting you say that. Berry was the last car on the lead lap, and I was watching the battle for that last car, and then 1 lap down with him and Briscoe. Berry just handed it to him.
Regan.
You see the 12 car Ryan Blaney, last week's winner, pitting right now. They've been all over the place today. It's been loose at times. It's been tight at times. So much so to where Ryan said at one point, I don't really know what to tell you. This most recent run, though, the rear grip, the biggest issue for the team.
Sprez to pit road as well. Jamie?
Denny Hamlin had to drive through the field after that pit road speeding penalty. He just said, not accurate. We're actually a little bit tight, but that's because he was in traffic that run. 4 tires, air pressure for Jimmy.
The only car on the lead lap who has not stopped is the new race leader, Brad Keselowski. That's Brad on that. That's his radio, your leader, top of the screen.
Yeah, a lot of times, sometimes the theory is on this, you might get lucky. And I think in order to get that big jump in track position for where Brad is running and where they were, is to hope that you get lucky with a caution or something. But,
well, don't forget where we're at. Been a lot of dreams won and lost downtown in Las Vegas.
More than 1/3 of Brad Keselowski's 36 Cup Series years have come on 1.5-mile tracks like Las Vegas.
yeah, and I think it's just so much different now with the way that you have to drive the cars and the car itself. It's definitely the big problem with this one. We got to fix Saturday, Mike. We have to qualify better in order to give themselves a chance to win these races.
Brad right up at the head end of pit road. Again, he's the last car on the lead lap to make this stop under green. Had to cycle the lead back to Kyle Larson.
Yeah, and he's just taking control of this race, Mike. He was able to beat Bell, get that track position, and put himself into the lead, and he has kept it, and now he has full control of this race.
45 to go in stage 2 in a race that has only had 1 caution flag, and that for the break at the end of stage 1.
Just about 3 laps shy of halfway as we're at lap 130 of 267, and we're down to 35 laps to go now in stage 2. Kyle Larson with a 2.7 second advantage over Christopher Bell in 2nd place. And then we got William Byron in 3rd, Bubba Wallace 4th, Tyler Reddick in 5th. Chris Buescher is in the 6th place position. 7th is Brad Keselowski, though he was just on pit road. So we'll wait to see how that cycles out. Chase Elliott's in 8th, Ryan Preece 9th, Austin Cindric rounds out the top 10. Once Keselowski cycles off of pit lane there, it looks like Denny Hamlin will actually be the 10th place car. Clean and green so far is the name of the game at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage of today's Pennzoil 400 from Las Vegas. Up to 150 votes now for who you think is going to win today's race. 39% taking somebody other than Larson, Bell, or Hamlin. Larson at 31% of the votes leads the race right now. Christopher Bell at 13% was a stage 1 winner. And Denny Hamlin coming back from a pit road speeding penalty. He is now in 10th, and he is at 17% of the votes. He was 3rd at the end of the last stage. If you haven't joined the Fantasy League yet, be sure to do so on the NASCAR.com website or NASCAR mobile app. Chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race of your choosing the following season if you win the regular season or Chase Championship. We'll have 2 different champions. And as I'm going to my fantasy team right now, I'm saying that and bringing this back up because, again, the Fantasy League locks at the end of stage number 2. So on my team today, I've got Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, William Byron, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin. Hamlin had the pit penalty, but he looks very fast. I think he can get back in the top 5, no problem. Larson's leading the race, going to keep him in there. Christopher Bell, eye test, he looks very fast. Bubba Wallace is in 4th right now, and he did score 6 stage points earlier. He's outrunning his teammate Tyler Reddick. So for now, I'm going to put Wallace in for Reddick, and then William Byron sits in 3rd for the time being. So that's my fantasy team. The head-to-head battles, I took Ty Gibbs over Josh Berry, took Ryan Blaney over Tyler Reddick, took Chase Briscoe over Bubba Wallace, and then I took Carson Hocevar over Suarez. So kind of 50-50 there based on how the race has started so far. So Larson leads. We're 1 lap past halfway at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for today's Pennzoil 400. Still got quite a ways to go with 132 laps left. But because of the 1 caution just for the stage break alone, and we haven't had any yellows for incidents, we're only at 1 hour and 20 minutes into this race. So it is very, very fast that we are past halfway already, and we are shy of 1.5 hours in. This could be the quickest race of the season of the first 5. Listing the start times graphically for next weekend across the Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series. I mentioned that already earlier in the stream. 7:30 p.m. Eastern will be live for the Truck race on Friday night. Cup race next Sunday will be at 2:30 p.m. Eastern right here on the channel. Saturday will be a doubleheader with Cup practice and qualifying. Will be live for that at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on Saturday afternoon, and then Saturday evening at 5:30 p.m. Eastern for the O'Reilly race. All at Darlington next week. Kyle Larson growing his lead out a little bit beyond the green flag pit stops as he navigates through lap traffic. His lead is 2.2 seconds now over Christopher Bell, 2.7 seconds to William Byron in 3rd. Bubba Wallace 6.4 seconds out of the lead in 4th. And Tyler Reddick is 10.5 seconds out of the lead, rounding out the top 5 in 5th. So that is where we stand right now. Denny Hamlin, after the pit road speeding penalty, is up to 9th place. Now, both Hamlin and Blaney did go a little bit long on their green flag run, though Hamlin, despite being behind Blaney, had cycled ahead of him. I believe that 12 team had a slow pit stop because they are now back in 12th. They were running 6th before the pit stops started. Hitting on the backside of the run, he should be able to make up some spots and get back in the top 10 by the end of the stage, but I don't know how many more spots he's going to be able to get. I doubt he's going to get back up to 6 without a caution. I'd be shocked. These top 4 are just light years ahead of everybody else in stage 2, interval-wise, over 10 seconds back to 5th. Kyle Larson looking for his 7th win on a 1.5-mile racetrack in the next-gen era. Coming into the day, he led over 1,700 laps in the next-gen era at 1.5-mile tracks. He's led another 39 today, and we still got a little under half the race remaining. He's led the second most laps to that of only Denny Hamlin, who has led for 59. 14 lead changes so far as we're just past halfway. Most positions gained since the restart. Chris Buescher up 6 spots to 6th. Ty Gibbs from the speeding penalty up 12 positions to 11th. Hamlin is up to 9th after his speeding penalty, also restarted back in 22nd, has gained the most positions since then. Currently in the free pass position is Riley Herbst. With Larson lapping more cars, it's going to be harder for Chase Briscoe at a speeding penalty during green flag pit stops back in stage 1 to get back on the lead lap. To add insult to injury there for Briscoe, he also had a pit road violation not a pit road violation, but a loose wheel and had to pit in a teammate's box, which restarted him basically at the tail end of the field. behind all the other cars that were one lap down. He raced his way to the free pass position, but now with more cars going a lap down that weren't a lap down at the end of stage one, his life is becoming much harder here today. And this was a day that he had to have a good run. He had a fast race car, got up inside the top 10 quickly in the early part of the race, and gave it away on that first pit stop with the penalty, and compounded with another mistake by the pit crew on the second pit stop. Third pit stop during green flag conditions did go harmlessly for that 19 crew, but 2 for 3 on bad stops. It's not a very good ratio to have on that side of things. Can't expect to have a lot of good things come your way. 22 laps to go in the stage. Christopher Bell is quickly closing the gap on Larson, who is now struggling in lap traffic for really the first time. The lead was 2.7 seconds after the green flag pit stops, and now it's down to 1.1. And that lead has only diminished for Larson over the course of the last just less than 20 laps. Late in stage 2. Check the chat just to make sure I haven't missed anybody. Earl Arnold Jr., thanks for tuning in. I don't think I shouted you out yet throughout the stream. Billy Kramer as well. A lot of the usual suspects that we see here every weekend. Irene Sarah, welcome to the stream. Chat pool hasn't changed much since I last checked it during the commercial break prior to the one that they're on right now. But if you haven't voted yet or are looking to change your vote, you got about another 19 laps to do so. $18 laps to go in stage 2, this time by at the line for Larson. He was a little bit quicker than Bell that last lap when he was able to get some clean air on the nose and get out of heavy lap traffic. 2 laps consecutively now, he's been at least a couple hundredths faster than Bell. But in the midst of the lap traffic, it wasn't working out so well for him. 20 cars now in the lead lap. Ross Chastain is the last car in the lead lap in 20th. First car lap down in 21st. Looking for the free pass at the end of the stage is currently AJ Allmendinger.
Hamlin and Ty Gibbs started from the back, restarted from the segment 2, and big gains. Hamlin is going to score stage points. He's come from 21st now up to 8th. Ty Gibbs from 23rd up to 11th. Carson Hocevar hoped for a strong day today. There's the Chili's onboard camera sitting back there at the rear spoiler. Hocevar finds himself in 15th at this moment after restarting 10th.
Got his cowboy hat on there. Looking good, Clint.
Tyler Reddick, 5th and wanting more before the end of stage 2.
Well, that's what we heard him talking about earlier, trying to save those front tires, and we've seen him fall off at the first 2 cycles on tires as the run went. So they know their weakness is that long run, as you see Kyle Busch going underneath.
They're going to race hard here. That's right in front of the leaders. And all these cars right here are racing hard to stay on the lead lap. Well, Chastain is the last car on the lead lap, and Kyle Busch is the last car 1 lap down, and here comes Larson.
Yeah, that's 2 different races. You don't want to go 2 laps down, and Ross Chastain doesn't want to go 1 lap down. So it's definitely affected the 5 car, and that's allowed Christopher Bell to creep right in on him.
Look how much that slowed the leader down to Larson with those 2 cars that go through 3 and 4 side by side.
And this this is the exact same thing that happened earlier in the race to Denny Hamlin. These guys don't want to go a lap down, so they wind up racing you really hard, and that puts you in a position where you wind up with no air on the front of your car, and then you wind up using the tires more, and that allows the second place guy, and then it's going to allow the third place guy to cycle in here. But Larson's just going to try to end this mess going through the middle.
He's still going to get, it's going to collapse right here. Hadn't got it figured out yet. Chastain and Busch trying to make those cars as wide as possible. There's Denny Hamlin making his march back up to the front slowly but surely. He will get there.
And he's actually got there pretty quick, Clint. I mean, it's really been one run on tires to be able to put himself in a position back inside the top 10. They're racing. He's basically taken over 7th right there. So that 11 car is fast.
Coming to 12 laps to go in stage 2 in Las Vegas.
All right, 12 laps to go in the second stage. Kyle Larson still the race leader. Christopher Bell in second. William Byron third. Bubba Wallace fourth. Tyler Reddick rounds out the top 5 in fifth. Sixth place is Chris Buescher. Denny Hamlin 7th. Chase Elliott 8th. Ryan Preece 9th. And Austin Cindric in 10th. With Ryan Blaney 11th. Ty Gibbs in 12th. Zane Smith 13th. Joey Logano 14th. And Carson Hocevar 15th. 16th is Brad Keselowski, Austin Dillon 17th, Daniel Suarez 18th, Eric Jones 19th, and 20th is Ross Chastain, and now he's the first car lap down. AJ Allmendinger in 21st, Riley Herbst 22nd, Chase Briscoe 23rd, Michael McDowell 24th, and 25th is John Hunter Nemechek. Connor Zilic in 26th, Kyle Busch 27th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 28th, Noah Gragson 29th, and Cole Custer 30th. 31st, Ty Dillon, Cody Ware 32nd, Justin Allgaier 33rd, Shane Van Gisbergen in 34th, Josh Berry 35th, and Todd Gilliland rounds out our 36-car field. Crazy. Josh Berry, the winner of this race a season ago, 3 laps down in 35th today. Nowhere near the pace that he had in this very race a season ago. We came into this race with only 7 different winners at Las Vegas in the NASCAR Cup Series. Right now, the top 2 have won here before, Larson and Byron, while Bell and Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, in fact, as well, rounding out the top 5, 3rd through 5th, have not won at Vegas in their Cup career. Only 3 drivers inside the top 14 that have a win at Vegas are Larson, Byron, and Hamlin, running 1st, 2nd, and 6th in that top 14. Byron up 4 positions since the restart, looking strong. And he was actually looking much better on this long run, obviously past Christopher Bell for 2nd a couple laps ago. Larson held up in lap traffic again, and that 24 car looks to be the car to beat here late in stage 2. Byron has not led a single lap yet today, but this is definitely the best that he has looked on speed by the eye test all day. And it comes with a little bit over 100 laps to go. Top 3 all within a second of the race leader, so can't count Bell out of a chance to try to win these first 2 stages. Byron is fastly approaching Larson as Larson tries to go to the inside of a lap car. A lapper being Kyle Busch in the 8. Busch trying not to go a second lap down in the 27th place position. Byron picking the lane just to the inside of Busch. Larson goes all the way to the bottom on the white line. Almost making contact with Busch off the exit of turn 4. Big wiggle by Larson, and Byron will sweep by both cars, lapping Busch again and taking the lead from Kyle Larson into turn 1. 15th lead change of the day, and the first time today the 24 car of William Byron is out in front. The first time we've called his name, even really challenging for the lead minus that restart at the beginning of stage 2 when he pushed Larson to the lead when they were 3 wide between the 5, 9, and 20. And just about a lap after taking the lead away from Larson, Byron's already out ahead by over half a second. Christopher Bell in the 20 now, running down Larson for 2nd late in the stage. Just 4.5 laps to go this time by. Busch going to give that 5-car big shove down the back straightaway after a run off the high side from turn 2. It helps out Kyle Larson just a little bit more. Larson stays ahead of Busch. Christopher Bell now has to make a pass on the 8-car. And they're showing a replay. Kyle Busch actually got against the wall through turns 3 and 4, while Byron made the pass on Larson for the lead. Saw a wiggle from the 5, and I think that was him trying to get away from Busch after Busch had popped against the wall, trying not to make contact with him. Carson Hocevar, unscheduled pit stop with 4 laps to go in stage 2, is on pit road. Tough break for the 77 team. That's going to drop them off the lead lap. They were on the lead lap, but not anymore. So he's going to fall 1 lap down. Should be able to take the wave around to get back on the lead lap at the stage end at least. Battle for the free pass position now is going to be a battle for 19th. Ross Chastain is well ahead of AJ Allmendinger for that spot, just hoping that Eric Jones doesn't get lapped in the last couple of laps of the stage. Sure, when they spawn the camera back to the 24 car at the front of the field, we'll see the 43 not too far up ahead of Byron. Jones 30 seconds out of the lead. Last lap time ran by the 24 car was a 31.473. Fell to the high side through 3 and 4. One last charge to try to run down Larson for second in the stage. Bell looking a little loose on the high side. Larson, the winner of the O'Reilly race yesterday. Pretty solid stage day today. He was second in stage 1 to the 20 car. And now he'll be second in stage 2 to the 24, it appears. I don't think Bell's going to catch him. Bell's got one more corner to try to make this pass, but he doesn't have a big run on him down the backstretch. They got the headwind going into turn 3 as well. Bell will take to the outside anyway, hoping for one last surge. Kyle Larson is going to be a couple car lengths in front of him off the exit of the corner. He'll hold on for second. And a 1.3 second margin of victory in stage 2 for William Byron. I believe this is the first stage win of the year for the 24 team. Kyle Larson ends up second in stage 2. Christopher Bell third. Bubba Wallace fourth. Denny Hamlin rounds out the top 5 and 5th. Tyler Reddick in 6th. Chris Buescher 7th. Ryan Preece 8th. Chase Elliott 9th. Austin Cindric will get the final stage point in 10th. So there is your top 10 at the end of stage 2. Brad Hawkins, thanks for tuning in. Flat tire for Hocevar. Yep, that's why he was on pit road. All right. Well, folks, stage 3 underway. We've got about 200 people concurrently watching. We're just over 100 likes on the stream. Our goal is to get to 150, so we're 2/3 of the way through the race. We got 1/3 of the way to go to get to our like goal, so be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We're going to close our chat poll off at 174 votes. 40% of you taking somebody other than Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, or Christopher Bell. And right now, Byron falls under the other category, and he did win stage 2. Larson had 32% of the votes to win the race today. Denny Hamlin 17% and 11% for Christopher Bell. I'll go who wins at Las Vegas. And I'll do this one between HMS, JGR, and other. Because that has been the class of the field so far. Has been JGR, HMS, and then I'm just going to group everybody else with that. Because Penske's been an afterthought today. 2311, I'd say, is the third-tier team in today's race between Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick, running 4th and 6th at the end of stage 2. RFK 7th and 8th right there behind him as well.
Their group got it done, and I think that was just a testament to their championship pedigree. Like, I think back in the younger years, maybe that would have been a meltdown Brian Bueno moment, and it wasn't. And they locked in and got the job done.
Coming to every Tuesday for NASCAR's #1 on the iChart podcast. It gives expert opinion on the top storylines and has guests from entertainment, world of sports. So it's fun. It's Kevin Hart's The Hour. Don't miss it. Stage 2 is complete. Look at Christopher Bell's pit stops, 2 of the fastest 3 stops this season.
Look at that, Clint. 898.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
We're going to need it again, boys. Please get me in front of that 5 car. I'll do my job on the racetrack, but I need you now more than ever.
Well, pit road is still closed. Larry, let's go back to speeding penalties. 14 of them here over the 2 races last year. 6 speeding penalties today. And I want to get a little deeper on this Joe Gibbs racing situation. When 3 of your 4 drivers have penalties in the same section, is that on the driver or is that on the data?
Well, I truly believe it's on the driver, and I'd love to hear Kevin and Clint expand on it because they've experienced on pit road. But you have 14 segments on pit road. Segment 2 through segment like 13, they range anywhere from like 125 feet to 142 feet. But that first section coming in is only 89 feet, and the last one leaving is only 58 feet. So there's a big disparity between coming in, leaving, and everything in between, Clint. I like the disparity and everything you talk about, but Kevin, get him. That's a crew chief first driver right here.
Well, this is they're all going to be set really close, but this is a difficult pit road when it has a little bit of curve in it on both ends. So you have to run faster in the curves than you do on the straightaway. So what happens right at the end of that timing line where you think the curve ends, that's where you have to go back down on the speed. And as short as that zone is and as close as the speeds are set, it's just really easy to run it just a hair too far and then you're over.
Well, here's old Clint's opinion. I think when you have 3 or 4 drivers in the same organization with the same problem in the same section, the intel's been a bit off. That's what I mean.
I would agree with that a little bit, but we've had a lot of other teams in that section as well.
Oh, it's problematic.
Yeah.
But something's up with the Gibbs company in particular. Somebody's misfigured something. Ty Gibbs said on the radio, he said, look, I'm sure I was below my number, but well, hold my gun as the driver. All right. Let's pause this discussion and go to Regan for pit stops.
Oh, Mike Tyler, ridiculous. 45-car runner in 6th place right now. Continues to be solid, but continues to fight the same thing. It just builds too tight as he runs. Been working on lines, trying to figure something out that'll work. His teammate, the 23 at Bubba Wallace, needs it to fire off a little bit better, but it was more manageable that time, Jamie.
William Byron in the 24, a little bit tight in traffic. He doesn't want any stiffness, said he needs to be better on the bottom. Looks like Kyle Larson a little freer in traffic that run. They're flying back on the last adjustment that they made, that on the road.
Whoa. That was close. Larson, Byron, Bell, Hamlin as they come off pit road. That's how close it was.
3-horse race leaving pit road as Kyle Larson wins the race out with a 9.7-second pit stop by his crew after finishing second in the second stage, just as he did stage 1. He ends up on top. A tie for the most stage points today between Bell and Larson, each scoring 18 apiece. Bell, the stage 1 winner. William Byron, the stage 2 winner. Byron coming on strong, kind of out of nowhere there, late stage 2. He's only led 11 laps today. Those were his only laps led the entire race. And we'll have our 16th lead change once Larson gets back to the start-finish line after winning the race off of pit road. 97 laps to go and counting down here today at Las Vegas. The only 2 stage cautions are the yellows in the race today. Lap 80 and now lap 165 out of 267. Just over an hour and 40 minutes in. Overwhelmingly, 60% of 25 votes taking HMS for the victory today over JGR and other. I'll leave that chat poll open until midway through stage 3. You can vote there. 109 likes on our goal to get to 150. Still be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We'll take a quick break of our own before the restart to begin stage 3. Got a lot of time left in this race still. I'm going to be shocked if a non-HMS Chevy or a Toyota wins this race. I know I mentioned about RFK being 7th and 8th at the end of the stage, but they haven't been in the top 5 the entire race so far. Zane Smith is looking to get the Underdog of the Day award. He's in 9th right now. He's been fluctuating between 8th and 12th this entire race. Shout out to Zane Smith in the 38. And that Front Row Motorsports team, they are clicking. And they're trying to make the Chases an underdog this season because right now he has finished inside the top 11 in 3 of the first 4 races this year. He had a top 10 at Atlanta, top 10 at Daytona, and also had an 11th at COTA with quite a few stage points that day. Look back at the point standings again. We did in the pre-race. But just to kind of highlight Zane Smith while we have the chance to talk about him, despite the fact that he is 19th in points, he hasn't scored a lot of stage points this year, minus the stage win in the Daytona 500 and then having a few of them at COTA, but the finishes have been there. Today he scored some stage points. And he's running inside the top 10, and he's looking for an opportunity. Try to get himself back inside the top 16 after race 5. Gavin H., thanks for tuning in. Go Team Blaney. Yes, sir.
It's the run that the guy in 3rd or 4th kicked in. I mean, the mile and a half racing with this car over the last 3 or 4 years has just been epic. And Vegas, fun track. Clint and Kevin have talked about it. You're 3 or 4 wide. There's so many different grooves to run on this track. A lot of fun to watch.
All right, we're going to send it back to the boys in the booth, and I'm going to put Jamie to work down here on pit roads. If you can change the time or something. Yeah, none of that. Take it away, Mike.
All right, Josh. All right, Toyota started 4 cars at the front of the field. They led a lot. Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin led. The Chevys came on. Larson and Byron have had turns at the front. Who do you like?
Well, I picked Bell right at the beginning of the day, and I have to ride this horse. I think Bell's going to get it done.
What you're saying is you're chickening out on
I'm getting a little nervous about it.
Well, and that's the interesting part. I feel like the Toyotas have not gotten any better than what they were at the start of the day. And it seems like right now the Chevrolets have been able to make their cars better on every pit stop. So, yeah, the 5 and the 24 have been good, but I'm still sticking with my 11.
Well, Hendrick has dominated here at Las Vegas. Led the most laps in 5 of the last 6 here. Won 10 of the last 16 mid-race stages. And 5 of the last 10 races. And there are the winners.
You know, none of us said Byron, though. I mean, he drove right by the 5. Got him in traffic and used Kyle Busch as a pick. That's what you have to do it. But if both of those guys are going to be looking in the rearview mirror, Kevin, I think you're all over it. Denny Hamlin come a long ways in a short amount of time.
You get to the end of this race, and you get Larson and Hamlin or Larson and Bell battling. If Byron's in a position to capitalize, we know he's the opportunist. He's going to be all in.
Yeah, but Kyle Larson, we saw how aggressive he was with Bell earlier, and that's the unique part about Larson. He'll make you think he's going to run right into you and then stop and give you one lane.
Well, most people would.
But that's that's what happened with Bell earlier. I think Bell thought he was going to run into him, but that's something that Kyle Larson does really well. You'll think he's going to squeeze you, but he's still going to give you a lane, but he's going to make you think that there's nothing there.
You're going to see the volume turn up right here. I'm serious. These guys are going to go after it. I want clean air. You talked about Kyle. What's wrong with your car? Kyle said on his radio that
Yeah, we had a spectacular restart at the beginning of stage 2, and without having any cautions for incident, you never know. This could be the final restart of the race today. And we'll see if that will end into who is going to win. Green flag back in the air. Larson, after winning the race off pit road, gets a great launch in the restart zone, and he's going to lead the field down into turns 1 and 2. Chase Elliott trying to make a move to the outside, 3 wide to pick up a couple spots into the first turn as well. Got Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick, the 2311 boys, underneath him. Drag race down the back straightaway between Byron and Larson. Bell to the inside, going to make it 3 wide, and that will be for second because Byron's clear of the pack into turn 3. Larson did not hold on to the lead on this restart. He's going to fall all the way back to 4th. And now the door-to-door battle for second is between Bell and Hamlin. They'll side draft each other down the front stretch, allowing for the 24 to pull away and the 5 to slightly reel them right back in again. Exit of turn 2. Denny Hamlin on the outside still of Christopher Bell, while the 24 of Byron continues to lead right where he left off, winning stage 2. Hamlin in the middle groove of the racetrack through 3 and 4. Christopher Bell down around the bottom. Hamlin clear and has a run out of turn 4 on the front stretch. Tailwind down the front stretch headed for turn 1, and Denny Hamlin putting pressure now on Byron for the lead. Denny Hamlin has led the most laps in today's race, but he has not led since stage 1 because of the pit road speeding penalty at the end of that said stage. Got all the way back up inside the top 10 at the end of the second stage. And obviously a good pit stop, gained him a couple more spots, restarted in 4th. Gets a couple more on that said restart and looking for the lead. 90 laps to go this time by at the line. Top 5 in the running order, William Byron leading, Denny Hamlin 2nd, Christopher Bell 3rd, Kyle Larson 4th, and Tyler Reddick is 5th. Hamlin looking low, down the backstretch, fakes low, goes to the middle of the upper groove, Byron down around the bottom. And Christopher Bell still very tightly to these top 2 cars in front of him. Byron trying to break the draft as they go through the tri-oval down to the apron. Hamlin followed him there. Denny closes a gap on the entry into turns 1 and 2. Really rolls the bottom well through the center on that white line and gets all over the back of the 24 car. Hamlin going to go back to the middle of the upper groove again in 3 and 4. Byron a wide entry, but to get all the way down to the yellow or white line, on the inside. Maybe a slight bit more straightaway speed for Denny because of running that lane or lane and a half higher than Byron. Into turns 1 and 2. Hamlin going above the bumps into the middle to upper groove of the racetrack through 1 and 2. Byron on the bottom lane. Swarm of cars in the middle of the pack that they're showing on a side-by-side view right now on FS1. Ross Chastain, by the way, got the free pass at the end of stage 2 to get back on the lead lap, and we restarted with 19 cars on the lead lap. Chase Briscoe still a lap down after the speeding penalty from back all the way in stage 1. He's in 20th as the first car lap down. If we catch another caution, Briscoe could be back in it. But he's going to need it quicker rather than later if he's going to want a shot to get all the way back up in contention for the race win. Later the caution comes out, the less likely he is to get all those spots back. Byron continues to break the draft through the tri-oval, going down to the apron as Denny Hamlin closes in behind. Christopher Bell in the 20 car has not been able to keep up with the pace that both the 24 and the 11 have had over the last couple of laps, but he's still half a second of his own ahead of Larson. Chase Elliott, meanwhile, up to 5th as he got by Tyler Reddick within the last lap or so, so Chase Elliott back in the top 5 again. Second time today that has been the case. Elliott has never won at Vegas. It has been 5 races since the last top 10 for Chase Elliott in Las Vegas as well. Fox Sports 1 looks to be headed to a commercial break here shortly. We're going to stay right here on KRC as we bring you our full flag-to-flag live commentary coverage. And a battle between Denny Hamlin and William Byron for the lead. Hamlin with a run, looking to the outside. Byron blocks it off before entering turns 1 and 2. Hamlin stays wide into the first turn. Denny's going to have a run off turn 2 as he beats Byron back to the gas. Down the back straightaway, Denny is not going to look to the inside yet. Doesn't feel he's quite close enough to pounce. Staying in the clean air, middle groove of the racetrack, out from the bottom where Byron has ran on both ends of the racetrack ever since taking the lead on the restart. Spotlighting in the back half of the top 10 right now, it looks like Ryan Preece battling for position with Ty Gibbs. Gibbs and Preece battling for 10th. Gibbs taking that position away. Hamlin and Byron is not only the closest battle in the top 10, but obviously, again, it is for the lead. And if that 11 car wasn't in dirty air, I have a feeling he might get into the lead and may pull away. Hamlin, a two-time Las Vegas winner. Byron, one-time a race winner here. Both in the next-gen era have won one race. Hamlin looking low, going to beat Byron to the inside into 3. Byron with a slight wiggle as Hamlin got that front bumper close to the rear corner panel of Byron, maybe taking a little air off the 24's rear spoiler. And that's all he needed because Hamlin pulled clear off turn 4, stretches the lead out into 1 and 2, and for the second time today, Denny Hamlin leads at Las Vegas. And the first time since about lap 60. We're working lap 187 this time by. Now can the 24 car keep pace with the 11, and where is the tire management going to fall into place here? Because remember, this final stage is longer than stage 1 and stage 2 by about 20 laps worth of green flag racing. So instead of splitting it down the middle 40 or going like 35, 45, you're going to have to go closer to 50 laps. Maybe you pit as soon as that window opens and you go maybe 60 on that last run if you go 40 on the front half. But if it goes green all the way through the final stage, just like stage 1 and stage 2 did, there's going to be even more tire wear this go around than what we saw earlier today at various points. So once more, Denny Hamlin in the lead, William Byron second, Christopher Bell in third, Kyle Larson fourth, Chase Elliott rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Hamlin has stretched his lead out to 0.7 of a second now over Byron in the 24.
Hamlin in the lead, so he was the winner here when they came here the last time, and now he's right back to where he was and has passed the whole field.
Yeah, stage 2, he came from 31st to 5th. He will be our big move today, sponsored by Pods. Here is the move that you saw during the break for the lead in our double box coverage. And here's a look at Denny Hamlin's day. One look, one speeding penalty. Now, after that pass where Hamlin didn't leave room to the number 24, we have William Byron's radio. Well, folks, I couldn't understand much of that either, but I got the sentiment.
Yeah, well, I felt like the 11 drove in there trying to be right on the bumper to make sure that he didn't come down the racetrack and did everything he could to make that pass happen quickly right there. So William didn't like it, but that's the way it goes.
Jamie?
Denny Hamlin has now led the most laps of the day, and I talked to his coach, Chris Bale, this morning, and I asked him about setups compared to the fall, and he said, actually, the track temperature today is about exactly the same as it was in the fall. Denny Hamlin, of course, was your winner from the pole, but he didn't think that they had a race-winning car at the end of the race, but he said, Denny put on his cape, and he willed that car to victory. He said the key with this veteran driver, give him a car that he's confident in, and he will over. That's exactly what Denny Hamlin has been in this race car since they unloaded yesterday. Very much.
Yeah, Jamie, I've been looking at the data comparing the 11 car Denny Hamlin to William Byron in the 24. Not a big difference in the throttle when they roll out, when they pick it back up. Neither one's using any brake. But the big difference, guys, Hamlin's not having to put near as much steering into that 11 car as the 24, which tells me that car's turning better than William Byron's.
And that's key here to be able to get that balance right. But when you can go back to the partial throttle and have that car rotate through the middle of the corner and you don't have to have that wheel into it, then you don't have the snap. It's easier on the right rear tire. It's easier on the right front tire. So many benefits to being able to not have that wheel in the race car.
Tyler Reddick, and Chris Buescher, who has been one of the best of the Fords today. They've kind of admired in 7th through 12th place, but here's Buescher going after Reddick for 6th. Regan?
Yeah, and Mike, give some credit to Chris Buescher as well as Scott Graves having a fantastic day right now as we see him trying to make that move to the outside. Been very pleased with the car. He was a little tight on the entry early on in the race. Very good over the bumps. Right now, last pit stop, no changes on the 17. He's trying to get a career best finish for Las Vegas track here, and right now he's doing that.
I like Buescher. He's a grinder. No matter what they give him, he just grinds it out slowly but surely. He hikes his way to the front.
Yeah, we hadn't said anything about him all day, and he just shows up and inside of the top 2. But you're exactly right, Mike. He is a grinder, and he's been around this sport for a long time. He's done a great job for a long time. There was a period a couple years ago where I was like, they're going to start winning consistently, and in the last couple of years just hasn't done that same thing. But regardless, he always winds up consistently somewhere around the top 10.
And I don't mind eating a little crow. As a matter of fact, I love it. I mean, these guys, these Fords, we didn't talk about them much at all, Kevin. Just didn't sell them in the pre-race. Didn't think much of them, of what we saw in practice, but they're all grinding it out, doing what they do. I want to talk about RFK, his teammate, Priest, Ryan Priest. He was right up there in that first stage. So 2 of the 3 RFK cars being solid and have done so all day long, grinding it out.
Well, we've seen
11th, Kozlowski at 13th, and then Zane Smith, Austin Cindric right with just behind them, as you see on the bottom of the Zane Smith is another one. I've been watching him, and he got up as good as 7th at one time. He was right there in a picture of a restart. Just solid. That's what you have to do. Grind these tough weekends out. Keep grinding. Keep digging. And we need to go home and know where to work and how to improve.
Yeah, and you can't make any mistakes. They still don't have cars that are fast enough to go up there and win the race, but you never know, right? Like we've seen the Gibbs cars make mistakes on pit. Well, we've seen a lot of cars make mistakes on pit road with the speeding penalties and all the things that go with it. But if you don't make those mistakes, those are free passes for you and your team. So you got to be very pointed and dot the I's and cross the T's to not make any mistakes.
And you got to find a way to be good here. Because these 1.5 mile tracks, what some people call cookie cutters, they predominate the circuit. And this race and the next 5 are all tracks that are going to be in the chase for the championship. So take stock right here. Take a big swing at it on this next stop. See if you can figure out how to be better here when we come back.
And that's a great point. Same thing with Phoenix last week as we see Ty Gibbs going by Bubba Wallace there for 9th place. The other car that was at the back of the pack with a speeding penalty, he just hasn't quite made it back to the front as quickly as Denny Hamlin did. But still, I feel like that 54 car is pretty good, Clinton.
They have been all weekend long. I'm going to tell you, though, it's going to come down to the last stop. Whoever, for the lead, that being said, there just hasn't been a lot of change. And when it heats up and ratchets up at the end, whoever comes up with that clean air and track position, they're going to be hard to handle. And you look down across the board, and the top handful of cars, maybe even back as far as the top 8 cars, are pretty close, lap time wise. We're 34 laps into stage 3, 35 now, with 67 laps to go. Pit stops will be coming up under green.
All right, green flag pit stops are going to be coming up pretty shortly. We're down to just over 60 laps to go. Denny Hamlin is the race leader. William Byron sits in second. Third place is Christopher Bell. Kyle Larson in fourth. Chase Elliott still rounding out the top 5 in fifth. Top 5 have not changed position since Hamlin obviously passed Byron for the lead about 15 laps ago. Appreciate everybody tuning in here today. This has been a great one so far. A very fast race at that. I mean, we have just barely hit the 2-hour mark, and we're down to about 64 laps to go. 18 lead changes so far. The only 2 yellows have been the 2 stage ends at lap 80 and lap 165. Denny Hamlin 1.1 seconds now ahead of Byron, 2.4 seconds over Bell, and 3.4 over Kyle Larson in fourth. 76 laps led for Denny Hamlin, 22 for William Byron, 27 for Bell, and 62 for Larson. Hamlin has led the most laps so far today. Blaney led for 5 laps during green flag pit stops. Brad Keselowski for 4 laps during green flag stops back in stage 2. Joey Logano for 3. One for Carson Hocevar, one for Cole Custer back in stage 1. So predominantly the top 4 drivers in the running order have been the 4 best cars all day long. And it's been various times in which they have led. Hamlin led early in stage 1, got passed by Bell late. Bell ended up winning stage 1. Then Bell led for a little bit early in stage 2 before Kyle Larson was able to jump out in front, lead the majority of stage 2 before William Byron jumped in for the first time. He won stage 2. Then led on the restart before Denny Hamlin retook the lead right back. So it's kind of been a roulette wheel between those 4 drivers that had the top 4 spots. And as we come down to green flag pit stops, which will likely be the final stops of the day, especially if we stay green, they're all within 3.5 seconds of each other. So within a couple laps pitting difference, knowing that we have about 2 seconds of fall off over the course of a run, that could be the difference in winning and losing this race. Pit road speeding penalty for Denny Hamlin. He's regathered from there to win. That's why he hasn't been in the lead for as long as he has, despite leading the most laps. That happened all the way back at the pit stops at the end of stage 1. Good comeback there for him. Shout outs to those of you watching in the chat that I haven't shouted out yet. We got Sarah Troy 1. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it. Tuning in from Tampa, Florida this week. Awesome. Enjoy your vacation. That's cool. 1.2 second advantage for Hamlin over Byron. Lap over lap, he has been a little over 5 to 6 hundredths of a second faster. Lead continues to grow. Just waiting to see if that's going to continue to happen as the tires age over the course of the run. The good news is for Denny, he's only got to go about another 10, 15 laps until his final stop, if they don't pit before that. Connor Burke, welcome into the stream also. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live. KRC, full flag to flag coverage continues. We're 29 likes shy of our like goal of 150, so be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you haven't yet. We're at 122 right now. Denny Hamlin got career win number 60 at Las Vegas last fall, and here in the spring trying to get 61 as he has not been able to break through to victory lane since late last year. And what was the 4th to last race of the season in 2025. Now the 5th race this year. Unlike Kyle Larson, who's sitting in 4th, led some laps today. 2nd at the end of the first 2 stages. He hasn't won since May of last season. 29 races since the last victory for Larson, despite the fact that he did win the championship in the fall. He did not win the race to win the title.
And when he gets you to the opportunity, we've heard the Hamlin story is no different than a lot of them. And they sacrifice everything, everything you've ever done in life is all in on this effort to get, your dream to come true. And certainly the emotion showed that there when he won last year. All right, here comes Ryan Blaney. Surrendering a top 10 spot. Pit Road's going to have to back it up after we're shooting the pit. Going to get fresh Goodyears, Silco race fuel, that 0 carbon bioethanol.
Well, and that's exactly what we've been talking about all day. You can't make mistakes on pit road. You know the pit boxes are slick. You know that the timing lines are short in the first section right there. And it's just every year we come here, mistake after mistake after mistake on pit road.
Larry, does this draw anybody else in? I think it will, Mike, because splitting it effect.
Yeah, they're inside the fuel window right now. Just a little over 60 laps on a full fuel run. William Byron taking over the race lead from Hamlin, picked behind the lap car Michael McDowell. Hamlin drew himself out to about a 1.3 second lead. Byron back in front. We got a car spinning off turn 4 on the front stretch right in front of the leaders. And that was Connor Zilic in the 88 who was trying to come to pit road. Caution flag will wave. And I don't know that we saw many cars pit. Obviously, Ryan Blaney pitted from about 8th. He's going to be a lap down, but I don't think anybody else came to pit road. Caution is out for just the first time today. Our first yellow of the race. I don't know if Zilic was trying to pit and then just kind of missed it, or if he just spun off turn 4 on his own. He was off of the lead lap, been struggling for most of the day. We are under caution with about 55 laps to go. Stevie Joe Sampson, thanks for tuning in. Missed the replay. Let me rewind it. So he spun off of turn 4. It's kind of hard to tell from the couple of angles that they've showed if Connor Zilic had spun because of just coming into the pits too hot. He does have some damage on the nose of his race car. Not sure where exactly that came from. Maybe on one of the restarts earlier in the day. Pit road going to be open here shortly, and everybody will be coming in. Fresh tires and the fact we're inside the final fuel window. We'll see how this goes. Big dent on the nose of that number 88 Trackhouse Racing Chevrolet. Chase Briscoe finally going to get the free pass to get back on the lead lap after being a lap down for most of the day. He had the speeding penalty back in stage 1. We've seen all the other JGR Toyotas and 2 of the 2311 Toyotas in the top 10 all day. I have no doubt that Chase Briscoe is fast enough to run up there. And there are only 17 cars on the lead lap, but because he is getting the free pass, he will have to restart at the tail end of the longest line on the next restart. So going to be getting to pit stops here shortly. Got just over 200 people watching concurrently in the chat. Appreciate it, everybody. We're 24 likes away from our like goal of 150 still, so still be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you have not done so yet. Believe pit road will be open this time by. Byron will lead the field in. After just taking the lead away from Hamlin prior to the caution.
Number 1 pit stall in on the pole with a fast pit crew as well. Here they come, Riga.
Mike and Tyler Reddick in the 45 car continues to have a good day, but they've just bounced around a little bit about getting it right where it needs to be. This most recent run, noticeably tighter. He's asking for him to free it up, give him a little bit more turn for this next run. And the 9 car, Chase Elliott, has been fighting the right rear a little bit, but this last run said that he likes it the most that he has. He felt like it ended that run in a really good spot. Jamie?
William Byron in the red, white, blue car, number 20. Said I want to turn better for the first 30 laps, but the last 20 laps, I need to be able to put the gas down easier. Denny Hamlin, meanwhile, wants to be a little bit better on the long run. This got too tight there. He said, we're good on the run, and that is where William Byron is vulnerable.
Number 1 box.
Christopher Bell wins the race off pit road, picking up 2 positions. Hamlin net gain of 0 as he went in second, left second. And Byron, who came in as the leader, cycles off of pit road in third. Chase Elliott picked up a spot. He's up to 4th. Kyle Larson losing some ground. We'll see where he cycled out. I believe it was outside the top 5. And we'll go through the running order, of course, as we get closer to the restart. Leaders get back to the start-finish line this time by our leaderboard. We'll update, and then I'll run you through the top dozen to see where they're all going to be running at the front of the field for the restart. Ryan Blaney going to have to take the wave around, falling a lap down because of pitting before the caution. And again, Chase Briscoe got the free pass, so we should have 19 cars on the lead lap. For when we get to the restart. Good news is for Blaney, he's really not going to have hardly anything on his tires. Maybe a lap or 2. Slight disadvantage, but compared to other cars outside the top 10, I think he'll pace at least well enough with them. Been a top 10 car today, kind of between 7th and 10th for most of the day. Fell behind a pit strategy in the middle of stage 2, finished 11th, but got back up to 8th before the green flag pit stops in stage 3. And then the caution comes out about a lap after. Tough break for him. Can't catch breaks every week. We're up to 135 likes. We're 15 away from our like goal of 150, folks. We have not missed a like goal for any of the Cup Series race streams so far this season, so be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet so we can keep that streak alive here this Sunday evening. Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas. 20 lead changes so far. Our first caution for incident is a spin from Connor Zilic off of turn 4. Yes, first yellow of the day. It's been very racy on the only few restarts we have seen today. Christopher Bell back in the lead again. He looked like the dominant car back at stage 1, but then stage 2, by the end of the run, it was looking like Byron was the favorite. You flip into stage 3, Denny Hamlin's looked like the best now. And where is this going to rank with Bell being the leader in the restart? Can he compete with a couple others who have made the right adjustments to get themselves ahead of the 20 on pace and on speed throughout the back 2/3 of this race? 9 likes shy of 150 now. Our countdown continues. Greatly appreciate that, everybody. We just hit 100 right at the end of stage 2, so we have loaded in the likes over the last 50 laps or so. Appreciate it. Road to 8K subs as well on the channel, so be sure to hit the subscribe button. We have live commentary streams like this every NASCAR race weekend for Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck Series races, as well as Cup practice and qualifying every day before the Cup races, as we did yesterday. All right. They're going to be going green this time by. We're going to have 51 laps to go in the restart. And, I mean, any restart could be the last of the long green flag runs that we have seen today. That was actually the shortest green flag run we have had so far today, and it was just under 50 laps. Longest, obviously, the first 80 to start the race before the stage caution. Took it over 200 laps to have the first natural yellow of the day. Fast race pace continues as we're about to get going green. 50 laps to go. Green flag back in the air between Bell and Hamlin, the teammates at Joe Gibbs Racing on the front row. Bell on the inside, Denny Hamlin up high just as we started the race with those two on the front row in those same rows exactly. Kyle Larson inside of row 4 after losing a few positions on pit road, back at 7th looking to regain ground. It's been fantastic on the restarts today. Minus the 1 to begin stage 3. Byron looking into that third lane up near the wall. Chase Elliott, his teammate underneath, has been powerful on restarts, and Elliott gets the third off of turn 4 and now leads the HMS Brigade. Hamlin and Bell side by side as they cross the line. Bell leads that lap by inches, side drafting one another back and forth, just as Larson and Bell were able to do in their battle for the lead back at stage 2. But it's not going to last for nearly as long as Hamlin pulls clear out of turn 2 and leads down the back straightaway. Chase Elliott closing to the back of Bell through 3 and 4 has been more better on the short run than the long run today, has Elliott. Chris Buescher up to 4th place for a race high. Have not called that 17 car hardly at all today, but he is now in the top 5 late. A great restart and now trying to fend off Byron, who's underneath him in that battle for 4th. And a fast Kyle Larson and Ty Gibbs closing just behind. Denny Hamlin stretching his lead out over Bell already. Byron clear out of turn 4, nearly on Buescher for 4th. No, Buescher going to hold on again. We've seen a lot of side drafting going on today. amongst positions. Hanging in there. About as much side drafting as I've seen with this next gen car. So much so that Byron about made contact with Buescher down the back straightaway that last time. Just a dire need to make this pass as quickly as he possibly can. They nearly come together off turn 4 again. And now Byron's going to be well clear out of turn 2 for 4th. Denny Hamlin still holds the fastest lap of the race. That is worth a bonus point. And that was all the way back on lap 2 when he led the first couple laps of the race. It was a 29.454. We've seen a couple drivers run their fastest laps of the race on this last restart. That would include Chase Elliott and Chris Buescher in 3rd and 5th place at lap 219. Set their fastest laps. Lap 176 for Byron at the beginning of stage 3 also put together his fastest lap. But they were more than a tenth off of what Hamlin was able to put down with a much cleaner racetrack early on in the day. Denny Hamlin in the lead, Christopher Bell second, Chase Elliott in third, William Byron fourth, Chris Buescher still holding on for fifth. 44 laps to go.
If these had fallen off about us, these cars are running within half a second of their fastest laps of the day. RFK, I'm glad you said this right along with Keselowski right here, but that's all 3 of them in the top 10. Great effort out of RFK, especially later on. We've learned something through the course of this run. Kevin, I heard you talk about this. What do we need to do here? Let's keep grinding it out. We know that. No mistakes, but let's learn something. They have definitely figured something out through the course of this race. And so has Chase Briscoe. He was the free pass car, started last car on the lead lap on this restart. He's fought his way up to 11th already. Well, he figured out we need to quit making mistakes. That's what they did. They quit making mistakes, and now all of a sudden the speed's matching my teammates up front where they've been all day.
Well, if he doesn't go back up there and put this car in the top 5, James is going to be mad because he knows that they have a top 5 car, and I promise you that pressure that James puts on Chase to be able to get the most out of everything and not make mistakes, it will motivate Chase Briscoe to keep going forward. So he knows that the expectations are to be up there with his teammates.
It took him 172 laps to get back to the lead lap. It's taken him only about 12 laps to be knocking on the door of the top 10. Hometowner Noah Gregson on pit road for an unscheduled stop.
51 laps a long time, Larry. We've seen those little signs of corn sticking through those right front tires, those right rear tires, and I know it's only 5 or 6 laps, and well, sometimes more than that, depending on which run we're talking about. As you see, Ty Gibbs go by Kyle Larson, but are we worried about the tire at all, or you just think they're going to take a dive like Hamlin did the last run?
Well, to your point, Kevin, this is going to be the longest run that we have run. Now, normally the tire wear gets a little better later on into a race, and yeah, I'm very nervous.
Oh,
well, I hate to say that.
I'm nervous too now because the crew chief's nervous.
And I'm glad you brought this up. I don't want to say this, and I didn't want to bring it up, but we haven't had one tire failure all weekend long from somebody being too greedy. I'll tell you who's nervous. Anybody who's right in front of Chase Briscoe, because he is coming to the front. Yeah, he's up 8 spots. Boy, Bubba used it all there. Todd Gilliland on pit road, and Michael McDowell making stops. 4 tires. They had to, Mike. They had taken the wave around, so they were pretty much forced to have to pit on the brake.
Bubba Wallace, he's been quiet today, but he's had a great start to the season, running 9th right now, and scored a lot of points to start the season. See Chase Briscoe get that nice run off of turn 4 down into turn 1.
It's a lot. When he got that lucky dog, he was. Now, this is one thing that's nice about being at the end of this race. So the leader, we're putting people down on the lap now so quick. He only had to come. Well, he's up 10 spots, but that's half of the field on the lead lap. Wallace coming under fire from Keselowski. Later.
Well, Mike, just to update Bubba Wallace, about one run ago, the same thing as his teammate Tyler Reddick. That car took a swing to the tight side. They've been in front of it most of the day and making it better. But about 2 runs ago, it just got too tight for them, and they've been battling that since.
Such a finicky racetrack, and so walking that razor's edge of too tight, too loose, and this racetrack will do that. It's just like we talked about turns 1 and 2 with the shadows, but any change in the temperature, the ambient temperature in that track temperature will make these cars swing in a direction. But these tires also lay down a lot of rubber, and when you get the track rubbered up from the top to the bottom, I mean, it can make the racetrack swing. And you go back out sometimes and you'll be like, "Hey Larry, did you change my car?" "No, didn't change car, Kevin." And it'll just change on its own.
Chase Elliott has caught Christopher Bell. This is for second. This is happening about 1 second behind the leader, Denny Hamlin. 3 Chevrolets in the top 10, Elliott, Byron, and Larson.
He's going to get him. Throughout the course of this race, Bell's car just hasn't been able to hold on and adapt quite as well as his teammate, Lady Hamlin, and obviously some of these Hendrick cars as well.
His just seems to fall off earlier. And that 11 car, if it does the same thing that it did the last run, that 9's going to run it down because we saw William Byron run down Denny Hamlin at the end of the run. So it's going to be a razor thin margin as to win that 11 car if it does it again. If it acts like it did on the previous run.
Now look at that top 10, only one blue oval there, and that is Chris Buescher. Talked about how Blaney had been the class of the Fords last weekend, ended up in victory lane here. Buescher and his RFK teammates are the first 3 forwards. Buescher 5th, Keselowski 11th, and Priest 12th.
We talked about it at the beginning of the day. Run into each other last week and find yourself together complete. These guys are still together, Clint.
Get away from me for crying out loud.
You know, this 22 car, for several years, this was their racetrack. They were so dominant here, 5 or 6 years ago, as before we went to this generation of car. But they've struggled all weekend. See Denny Hamlin still at the bottom of the racetrack there through 1 and 2, and that's pretty much been the preferred line, but we've seen him run the middle of the racetrack, and maybe that answers the question why he's not running the middle of the racetrack. That 34 car is running his middle lane, but we've seen throughout the day as the leader catches lap traffic, it really drags that second place car up quickly because it takes so much time to work yourself through that traffic. And these guys will be a harder pass because remember, Mike, they just
And it goes down pit road, and that's what put Gilliland 3 laps down. So we're coming to next time by Larry.
Not sure what to make of trends today because we've only had 3 cautions, only 1 for incident. But the 8 races here in Las Vegas with the Gen 7 car, 2022 to 2025. Average of the last caution lap 240, which is about 3 laps away with 27 laps to go. We have had 2 overtimes, the spring race of 22, the spring race of 23.
Place battle here. Byron on the inside. Bell. And Byron completes the pass. Buescher looking on now.
looks to me like the same trend that we had the last run with William Byron starting to make his way forward as we get about halfway through, a little past halfway through this run.
So they're about a little more than 2 seconds behind the leader. Behind them, Ty Gibbs 3.5 back. Kyle Larson 4.3 back. Chase Briscoe, a great recovery. He's picked up 10 spots since the restart. We've talked about what he's had to overcome today after having a speeding on the first green flag stop. But look at his Instagram and look in the mirror up to the upper left right there. Do you see the flashing blue lights?
He got stopped on the way to the racetrack, so he's had to overcome that as well.
Yeah, and the bad part about it at this point is with a car that fast and having that mistake are just not scoring those stage points for him because he's so far buried in the points. And now you've got guys that you want to race with and contend with that have got stage points and going to get a decent finish. So you've really not made up anything.
So mid-race, we talked about 3 of the 4 Gibbs cars in trouble. Briscoe speeding on a loose wheel. Denny Hamlin speeding. Ty Gibbs speeding. Oh, they're in trouble. 3 of the 4. And now they're all in the top 8. What a rebound. How about Denny Hamlin's day from his radio remix?
Here, one back third lane, still clear, two back third lane, still two. Green checker there, nice work. Good job there. They're saying the 11 and the 54 both bad there, section 1. Are we sure of penalty? Checking. Hell, they'd say we were treating still up there barely, making it down the hill. Sure, clear. Line to the bottom. Nice work.
And now, last fall's winner here has a 1.6-second lead on Chase Elliott. William Byron.
That's not what you want to see in front of you. Cody Ware, but really sideways, slowed him up. Larry, what do you got on?
Well, I go back to stage 1. Now, this was going to be a 50-lap run to the end, and we're halfway through it. 25 down, 25 to go. In the stage 1, the latter part, that's when that 11 started to fade. Now, have they made an adjustment to compensate for that? But that was his Achilles heel late in a long run.
Yeah, he got tight as well.
Well, now, Chase Elliott, maybe he's picking up some due to the leader getting into traffic.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe they absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to Denny last time.
Yeah, and with Denny Hamlin's car, we think it's getting tied up off the corner. And behind those cars in traffic, it's just going to take him longer, and it's going to be harder on those front tires. And when you look at those lap times, we've given up over 0.3 of a second in 2 laps. And these lap cars are not cutting him any slack either. Ware definitely raced him pretty hard right there to keep him held up.
Regan?
Well, Mike, think back to something also on the last pit stop that we talked about there. Chase Elliott at the end of that last run, which was roughly 40 laps, said that was the best his car had ended the run all day long. He's been on the free side, but he's also been talking about how it's allowing him to ramp the bottom of the racetrack really well. So something that we have to keep an eye on as this plays out.
2 tenths quicker than Hamlin that last lap.
Denny's and watch his throttle when he gets back to the gas. He's not been able to go too long off the corner. That's telling me inside that race car he's tied up off.
Which is what you heard on the in-car camera last time. You just heard him.
Yeah, I don't know who to watch for more, whether it's Elliott or Byron. They're both within 2 seconds of Denny Hamlin. If Hamlin continues to kind of fade in the long run and maybe struggle in lap traffic, Chase Elliott currently is the second-place car. He's 1.1 seconds out of the race lead. This is the best Elliott has been all day today, and the first time he's been up inside the top 2 since that one restart where he only lasted in the second-place position for a couple laps before Larson and Byron were able to pass it back. He has kind of quietly been in the top 5 all of stage 3, and now, again, up into second place with a shot late. Just less than 20 laps to go. We'll go through the full field running order one last time. Denny Hamlin is the race leader. Chase Elliott in second. Third is William Byron. Christopher Bell hanging on for 4th, and Chris Buescher in 5th. Then you got Ty Gibbs 6th, Kyle Larson 7th, Chase Briscoe 8th, Tyler Reddick 9th, and Bubba Wallace rounding out the top 10. 11th is Brad Keselowski, Ryan Preece 12th, Austin Dillon 13th, Zane Smith 14th, to 15th is Daniel Suarez. Joey Logano in 16th, Ross Chastain 17th, Ryan Blaney 18th, Eric Jones 19th, and Austin Cindric in 20th. He's the last car in the lead lap. Then John Hunter Nemechek, first car lap down in 21st. 22nd is Carson Hocevar. Riley Herbst 23rd, AJ Allmendinger 24th, and Kyle Busch 25th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 26th, Cole Custer 27th, Justin Allgaier 28th, Connor Zilch 29th, and Michael McDowell 30th. Noah Gragson 31st, Ty Dillon 32nd, Josh Berry 33rd, Todd Gillen 34th, Cody Ware 35th, and Shane Van Gisbergen 36th rounds out our full 36 car field. 3 cautions, only 1 for incident. That was middle of stage 3. A Connor Zillage spin, 21 lead changes, 20 laps spent under yellow today, just over 2.5 hours into the race. Denny Hamlin's lead cut down to a 9/10 of a second advantage. He has led the most laps so far today. Chase Elliott in second, trying to run him down. Christopher Bell, the winner of stage 1 in fourth, and the stage 2 winner in third of William Byron. We'll take one last break in the final 20 laps. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage of today's Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas. We're going to end our chat poll, the second of which, late in this race, of who you think is going to win between Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, or somebody other than those two when it comes to a team. 96 votes were actually casted. 48% of you took Hendrick Motorsports for the win. 29% had somebody other than HMS or JGR, and JGR at 23%. And it's looking like it's going to come down between Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing as they lock up the top 5 positions. Ty Gibbs just made a pass on Chris Buescher for 5th place that last time by. Ryan Blaney trying to battle for position with Ross Chastain, a little bit older tires because of getting caught on the wrong side of a pit stop caution or green flag pit stop. He pitted. A few laps later, caution comes out. So he's got slightly older tires. He's only worked his way back up to 17th. Still 1 second difference between Hamlin and Elliott right now. That really hasn't changed much one way or another. Hamlin struggles in lap traffic for a lap or two. Elliott gains a couple tenths. And then Elliott, having to pass that same lap car, gives those couple tenths right back up again. Byron's lost a little bit of ground to both Elliott and Hamlin. If it stays green, Denny Hamlin so far looking good. 14 laps to go this time by at the line for the 11. He still has the fastest lap of the race today as well. He scored quite a few stage points, even with the speeding penalty at the end of stage number 1. Can Denny Hamlin hold on? He was 3rd place at the end of stage 1, and I think he got back up to 6th at the end of stage 2. Last lap, Denny Hamlin ran a 31.3 flat to a 31.369 for Chase Elliott, so Denny was a few hundredths quicker. Byron was the fastest of the top 5 that last lap. And now Denny Hamlin right back to being the fastest car on track the following time by as they cross the start-finish line, 31.299. Hamlin picks up literally 1/1000th of a second that last lap, but Chase Elliott dropped off to a 31.412. And the lead is a second and a half for the 11. It was a clutch career win number 60 last fall for Hamlin, where it came down to an overtime restart. Hoping that is not going to be the case today. We've had 2 overtime finishes in the 8 next-gen races at Las Vegas prior to today. Chase Briscoe up another spot to 7th, coming back from his stage 1 speeding penalty on pit road and a loose tire. During the stage 1 pit stops under that caution, the same pit stop in which Denny Hamlin had the speeding penalty. Briscoe got the free pass with the Connor Zillage spin. Restarted with 50 laps to go and has gone from last on the lead lap. Tail end of the longest line up to 7. If we had a caution and Chase Briscoe can pick up a couple spots on pit road, I think that 19 car is going to be very tough to beat on a restart if he is inside the first 2 rows. Only 1 Ford inside the top 10 right now, and that is Chris Buescher in 6th. So got to shout that out. He was able to get to the top 5 on the restart, but still settling in strong. His RFK teammates 11th and 12th right now of Keselowski and Priest just outside the top 10. Briscoe has gained 11 positions since the restart, most of any driver by far. Next closest is Kyle Busch, gaining 6 positions, but he's 2 laps down in 25th. Well, that's all with lap traffic. 9 laps to go this time by for Denny Hamlin, a 1.6 second lead. Last time by at the line, Chase Elliott picked up a little bit as Hamlin fell off to a 31.639, and Elliott had a 31.489. Almost a tenth and a half faster for Elliott over Hamlin the last lap. 8 laps left this time by. .2311 kind of fading off a little bit in this final stage. They're getting highlighted on the FS1 broadcast right now. Running 9th and 10th with Reddick and Wallace. They were at various points inside the top 5. Late in stage 2, Wallace was 4th and Reddick was in 6th. But throughout the course of stage 3, they just fallen behind a little bit. Unable to keep up on the longer runs. If Denny Hamlin wins this race today, he'll be 10th all-time on the NASCAR wins list by himself. He's currently tied with Kevin Harvick for 10th right now. That would bump Harvick back to 11th. And then he would be 2 wins behind Kyle Busch for 9th all-time at 63 wins is where Busch is at. Denny Hamlin was able to go on and win 6 races last season. And he has not slowed down yet in his mid-40s. Here today, looking just as strong as ever. Chase Elliott still trying to mount one last charge, has closed in a bit. Lead is down to right around a second. This thing is not over yet by any means. Hamlin is not coasting, and obviously neither is Chase Elliott. Last lap, Elliott was the fastest car on track with a 31.374. He picked up a full 10th from where he was running earlier. So whatever Chase Elliott is finding, he's finding something. No lap cars between the top 2, just 5 laps to go. Elliott wrapping the bottom of the racetrack all the way through turns 1 and 2 that last time around. Hamlin about a lane to a lane and a half wider than that. Kind of getting the left side tires in the bumps through 1 and 2, but the right's above it. And that last time by at the line, waiting for our lap time chart to update. Looks like the lead is right around 8 to 9 tenths of a second right now for Elliott over Hamlin. So he did pick up again. Picked up about a half a tenth that last lap. Not quite the marginal gain he was making the 2 laps prior. 3 laps to go for Denny Hamlin at the line. Lead is down to 7 tenths of a second. Chase Elliott just trying to get himself within striking distance for one last shot on the final lap of the race. He's come from almost 2 seconds back in these final 10 laps to getting to within 7 to 8 tenths of a second where he's at right now. Hamlin not slipping a wheel. Chase Elliott right around the bottom of the racetrack, just like Denny Hamlin. The closer he gets to the back of the 11, dirty air may be a problem. One more lap car, it looks like Hamlin will have to catch in the final 2 laps as well. Will that hinder his success in trying to win this race? Leaders down around the bottom. Lap car in the middle groove. That doesn't hurt Hamlin. Hasn't quite caught him yet as they are about to head into turns 3 and 4. Hamlin might have to change his line. Nope, he's going to stay right around the bottom. Chase Elliott does as well. Elliott having a hard time trying to get as close as he can to the back of the 11. There's still about a 5 to 6 car length gap. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go for Denny Hamlin. Actually stretching his lead out just a bit on the front stretch as he was able to beat Elliott back to the gas out of turn 4. Hamlin changing his lane for the first time, goes off of the white line, and he goes above the bumps in the middle groove. Elliott is still about 5 to 6 car lengths back as they enter turns 3 and 4. It's going to be too far behind to try to mount a charge. And off the exit of turn 4, checkered flag is waving. Career win number 61 for Denny Hamlin in the first of 2026 as he wins at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway and the Pennzoil 400. Half a second margin of victory for Hamlin over Chase Elliott. Denny Hamlin leads the most laps in today's race, 134 of 267. He led for about half the race, comes back from a pit road speeding penalty, and still gets the win. Now 10th all-time alone on the NASCAR Cup Series all-time wins list. 3 cautions, 21 lead changes, just 1 caution per incident, middle of stage 3, 20 laps spent under yellow, 2 hours, 41 minutes, and 16 seconds. This race flew by today for the full regulation length of 400 miles and 267 laps. Other drivers to lead in today's race includes Chase Elliott. Actually, Elliott did not lead any laps, finishing in second. 26 laps led for the Stage 2 winner, William Byron. Christopher Bell won Stage 1 and started on the pole, leading for 31 laps today. Hamlin started second. 62 laps led for Kyle Larson, 4 for Keselowski, 3 for Joey Logano, 5 for Ryan Blaney, 1 for Carson Hocevar, and 1 for Cole Custer were all the drivers who led at least 1 lap in the race today. We'll quickly go through the full field finishing order. Denny Hamlin with the race win. Chase Elliott finishes second. William Byron third. Christopher Bell fourth. Ty Gibbs with his third straight top 5 finishing fifth. Chris Buescher in sixth. Kyle Larson seventh. Chase Briscoe eighth. Bubba Wallace ninth. And Brad Keselowski rounded out the top 10. 11th for Ryan Preece. Austin Dillon 12th. Tyler Reddick his first finish outside the top 10 this year in 13th. Zane Smith 14th. Joey Logano 15th. Ryan Blaney in 16th. 17th for Ross Chastain. Daniel Suarez 18th, Austin Cindric 19th, and Eric Jones, last car in the lead lap, finishes 20th. John Nemechek first car lap down in 21st, Carson Hocevar 22nd, Riley Herbst 23rd, AJ Allmendinger 24th, Justin Allgaier 25th, Michael McDowell 26th, Cole Custer 27th, Kyle Busch 28th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 29th, Noah Gragson in 30th, 31st for Josh Berry, Connor Zilic 32nd, Ty Dillon 33rd, Todd Gillen 34th, Cody Ware 35th, and Shane Van Gisbergen in 36th. No DNFs today. All 36 cars that started the race did finish, but again, only 20 of which on the lead lap. If you haven't hit the like button yet, be sure to do so. We did get to our like goal. You're going to hear from race winner Denny Hamlin here momentarily. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in throughout the course of this weekend's live commentary streams. And again, today for the Cup race, we'll go over the start times for next weekend's streams as soon as we get this race-winning interview from Denny Hamlin.
Las Vegas crowd. Former teammates, Suarez and Chastain, dunking it out on pit road. It'll take some time. I'm not sure I want to do another season of this. And of course, he did. And he has captured the flag. Jamie.
Denny Hamlin taking it all in. A lot of fans here in Las Vegas. First question, though, Denny. What you were able to accomplish today. You had the speeding penalty, 31st to first in no time at all. And then you were able to hold off Chase Elliott hard charging on the longest run we had of the day. How did you overcome and get back to victory lane today?
Being part of Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota, that definitely helps the situation. But over the last few races here, just had a dominant car, and makes me look good when I can drive cars like this. But I got to thank the whole team, and they're the ones that made all this happen. And
there's the girl. Denny's family all here, and Denny, Mike just mentioned it, what you've been through personally with your family in this off season. Coming into Daytona, you said you weren't even sure that you were ready to get back behind the wheel. What did it take for you to get back behind the wheel and back here with your family winning?
I mean, I knew it took a few weeks to feel like driving, and over the last couple of weeks, I've definitely regained my love of it, and got refocused, and these are great opportunities for us, and this is.
Tell Mom to come on in, Jordan, baby boy.
This is a family sport. My family obviously had so much sacrifice to help me get here, and now that have grown in generations of Hamlin's following me, and it's great to
Mom gets to see this. I know Dad's still, saying that's my boy. Hell of a day.
I mean, it's a big moment too in the record books. You become the 10th winningest driver ever in this sport, surpassing our own Kevin Harvick. What do those records mean to you?
My name stands out, amongst those are legends of the sport, and I feel very fortunate to be on the list. But those guys were far more talented than I have ever thought about being. I just work really hard. I still to this day, work really hard at my craft to try to continue to get better. And days like today certainly make me feel happy about where I'm at in the sport still and what I can still do.
It's a family affair, no doubt, for Denny Hamlin, who wins at Las Vegas.
Congratulations, Denny Hamlin, career win number 61 in the NASCAR Cup Series. That is going to wrap up today's stream. Congratulations, obviously, to Denny, and thank you to all that tuned in throughout the course of this weekend's live commentary coverage as well. I am going to be back again next weekend, usual setup. Friday night, we will be live for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Saturday, we got a doubleheader for you at 2:30 p.m. Eastern with Cup Series practice and qualifying, followed by the O'Reilly Series race at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Back again with our main event on Sunday afternoon, Darlington Raceway across all three series next weekend, and the Cup race will be at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. Hope to see you for all that. I'll obviously put a post in the community tab the closer we get to next weekend on the start times for those streams. Thank you so much. As always, thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good rest of your weekend and have a good rest of your week.